All right, I'll open the meeting, say the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the September 16th, 2025 Walsh County Commission meeting. I'm going to ask for additions to the agenda. Paul?
No.
Ernie?
I got a comment on the public comment. Period. I also want to state our bridge inspection, so we get it in the minutes. And then I want to talk about the water board. And I got a question on the bills.
We don't have to add that to the,
No, I
Okay.
just,
we'll just catch you when we go through those. All right, Amy?
Yes, to add discussion for our public information officer for budget purposes going forward in 2026.
Okay, Denny?
no,
And Christina? No. Okay, and myself. I just have update on the zone meeting I attended. Okay. Everyone was provided with the consent agenda, which included a copy of the September 2nd, 2025 regular meeting minutes and the monthly bills. Ernie, you had a question on the monthly bill?
I just want to verify it. That bill is swinging construction for, what was it, 279 or 297, 551? Overlay or what was it?
No, it's this Swanson Bridge.
Swanson Bridge, okay, I just wanted to make
Or a
sure.
couple of more that size to go.
Okay,
I'm sure.
Amy?
I also, and Ron might be able to answer this, but the 756 for the Elston, it said some dog. That's just,
We're responsible for the dogs we pick up in the county, the county is, so that's. Bills from dogs that were picked up in the county.
so that's like a general, that's not just for one dog.
We have a contract, no, that was for several dogs.
Okay,
Okay, any other questions on the bills? Okay, as far as the minutes, I had a question on the minutes, and I should have had them in front of me. Do you have a copy? It was at the very bottom and we talked about 2 bridges and there was a word in there that I was just kind of questioning. Sorry, I should have had it printed out.
That's okay. Okay, so.
Oh, okay. Highway Superintendent Jason Johnston reported that 2 new institute bridges, is that correct? Okay,
No, there are bridges, county bridges.
okay,
2 new ones that are under construction right now.
So I
okay.
can update that to county bridges.
Would that sound better to new county bridges? Because I know I just questioned it when I'm like institute bridges. I guess I've never heard it called that before, so I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, that'd be our possessions, so.
Okay, so
Alright,
we'll,
I will update that. And then we'll review it at next meeting again.
I think we can approve them today
Okay,
with as
okay.
amended.
Okay,
Approve as amended, okay. All right, any other questions on the minutes? Okay, hearing none. All in favor to approve the minutes, or excuse me, all in favor to approve the consent agenda?
Oh, we have a motion.
Oh, we don't do a motion for the minutes. Yep, I know, that always throws me too, Paul.
Had too much time to think.
Excuse me, no, we do a motion, we don't
Yeah, we-
roll, excuse me, we do a motion, we don't do roll. I wish we just did roll.
Make a motion, I approve the.
as amended.
As a minute,
Second.
okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the minutes of approving the consent agenda, excuse me. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Right, motion carried. All right, let's get back on track. Okay, we have employee time now.
All right, I have Jaren Sands here, as the new deputy auditor treasurer in our office today. Do you want to stand up and introduce yourself?
My name is Jared. I'm from Alvarado, Minnesota. And I started this a few weeks ago. I think this is my 3rd week, so. I'm
Welcome.
excited. Thank you.
We're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jaren.
Yeah.
I say Christy has an office of young gals in there and it's fun to see
It
the
is
youth.
fun to see the youth, yeah, definitely. So we hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
How old that makes you so?
I'm a mother, so that's just, I don't remember.
Is anyone else here for employee time this morning? Okay. All right, then Chris, I think we can go on to you. Up next, we have Chris Larson. He has an engaging with commission letter.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair and members of the commission. You guys have all received a copy of the engaging letter, engaging with the commission. This was, a result of a request at last, county commission meeting. Just more or less a way for us to get out to the public. How they can interact with our commission meetings and our commissioners. All of the information on this is information that provides our commissioner or our citizens with the different ways that they can interact. Notifying them if they didn't know when the commission meetings are, how they can watch them if they're not able to be with us. The different ways that the decisions are made, our public comment policies. And then inviting them to interact with you guys as commissioners. So I think Commissioner Sporheim had asked me to draft this letter. As something to submit to the media and possibly put out on our website as just reminding the community that we do value their comments and their feedback and their participation. It's truly what makes your job as commissioners worthwhile to hear from the public. So I just bring this to you guys today for approval and any comments or changes you guys would like to make?
Has everyone had a chance to review the letter?
I have a question.
Okay, Paul.
Chris, I'm not really familiar with the state law that I mean, I know a state law
Yep.
changed and you're required to have comments on each agenda.
Yep.
Is the 3-minute thing, is that in state law or is that just our policy?
I believe that is our policy. I can check state law. I can definitely check that. In fact, I can check that now for you.
No, I just.
Yep.
The way it's written, it kind of sounds like it's state law and it's maybe semantics, but. And I'm not opposed to the 3-minute thing, I'm just.
Right. Yeah, I'll double check on that.
Amy?
I thought we had discussion on this in terms of the amount of people that could speak. At one meeting, so it was something we discussed, but do you remember saying?
Christina?
So Kelly Cole wrote up the policy off of the legislative change, so I think she would probably be the best person to ask. For in regards to if there's a 10-person limit, 30-minute limit.
I believe that's how it came off, 30-minute limit, 10 people, so, and I think others had used that 3 minutes, so she just asked if we were good with the same. But so I don't think it's cemented, I think it's more so we just made it to make it simple.
So North Dakota Senate Bill 2180, I just looked it up. On a governing body of a city, county, township, school district, park district, or water resource board may limit public comment only as follows, except for provided in subdivision B by time per speaker, total time for public period or both, or by agenda topic to the agendas of the current and at least one preceding meeting. So
So it says may, it's.
May, Yeah.
The way I read this makes it sound like the reason there's 3 minutes there is because it's state law and it's not, it's our policy is all I'm saying.
Yes,
That's all.
Yep. and I can further clarify that before sending this out.
I know the water board does the same as the 3 minute and 30 total.
Yeah,
And I'm not opposed to limit at all.
Okay, so you'll just tweak that?
Yep.
And
Okay,
I've been to both meetings where we have let people talk longer than 3 too, so.
Yeah.
right,
yep.
okay.
We need a motion on,
I don't know that we necessarily need a motion on this, do you?
Yep.
I think it sounds great, thank you, Chris.
Right, yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's good to get the word out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Since you are gonna be tweaking it, I guess maybe I just added one thing. I know there was quite a few questions before our library meeting, like, I mean, I have to get to the meeting early to submit this card. But we actually allowed them to email in as well, right?
Mhm.
I mean, maybe we should,
Clarify them.
that they are allowed to email. Contact the auditor and get their name, get their information to the auditor.
Or should I add my comment on the public comment for them being, we're talking about it?
Yes, absolutely.
I guess I just got a heartburn about it. I'd like to let people know that if you sign up and you take somebody's spot, you should probably come. Cause what happens and we didn't have 10 people, but if we would have had 10 people here and the one person that didn't show up took somebody else's spot. And I think that's very unprofessional, wrong, rude or whatever. So if you're gonna sign up to do a public speaking, you better show up. That's all I wanna comment.
Because if there would have been 11 or 12
Yeah.
people that wanted to speak, they just bumped off that 11
Yep,
person, okay. Because of our,
Sort of an etiquette deal. If you're gonna sign up, then come. And I don't know, can they email back in time to get off? I guess I never thought of that. I know you're taking emails, but that's probably what they could have done too, instead of just leave us open, like, is she coming or is he coming or whoever,
Madam Chair, I asked this last meeting and I think we need to just be sure that we're really clear on what we're discussing in the meeting. So that if someone is part of an agenda item, they're part of that agenda and not put in the public comment period. That's how I felt with the library, because my question last meeting was, okay, we had library and then we had regional council. So if 10 people would have showed up for library and 10 would have showed up or we had 30 with the library. And then so then they couldn't speak on that topic, like that doesn't make sense to me. It makes sense to me if there's a public comment in terms of the whole meeting, but if they're there for a specific item, I have a hard time believing that it's fair that we just take the first 10 and then no one else can speak. I think we need to be careful on that. Because I asked you about that last time, Madam Chair, and there were 30 people here for the library. So yes, if all of them would have wanted to speak, we would have said only 10, and then the regional council came up and we would have said, oh, sorry, we've already hit our 10. Does that make sense? Like, I think we need to be sure that if people are part of an agenda item, they should be in that agenda item. The public comment period is outside of something that's pertinent, like that's my question, because if you have a lot of people here or they want to add comment, it's confusing to me, like. Does that make sense? I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me that you wouldn't allow someone to speak on something because we've already hit the max.
but if you read that, it says, they can address or an agenda item from this agenda or previous agendas.
Right, so that's what I'm saying, that's different than a specific agenda. If someone comes and they wanna talk about something that's on there, I don't know,
what I'm hearing is you would have liked our policy to read, for example, so many people per item, per agenda item.
I don't know.
Right now we have per meeting,
Yeah.
It might be something we need to clarify with Kelly on.
Christina.
So when we were talking to Kelly, she did say that you could call on whoever during the discussion. When we were talking about it, in the policy, it's first come, first serve. That's written in our policy for the 10 speaker card submitted. And like you said, Ernie, you can come to the next meeting if you don't get to say your piece at this meeting. But when we were talking to Kelly, I understood that she said you could call on whoever during the discussion as commissioners. If you wanted.
And I felt we did allow pretty open
Yeah.
discussion during the library meeting. I mean, there were many people that were allowed to speak without having a speaker card filled out. So I hope it's not going to be an issue, I guess is what I would say.
It was probably a little tough because that meeting was not a standard, right? Like that had a little more behind it. So hopefully going forward, it won't be an issue. I just don't want there to be this. Sorry, you don't get to talk about your topic because there were too many people ahead of you kind of thing.
Right. Paul,
I think the state law is kind of a minimum requirement. I think the chair can recognize anybody to speak on any issue that you like.
Mhm.
So if there's somebody here that wants to speak to a specific item, if you want to hear what they have to say, I think you can recognize them. And if you don't, I think you cannot recognize them.
Right,
But I think the state law is there so that at least at the end of the meeting, that person can say what they wanted to say. Whether it's too late or not is another matter, but
right.
I see it as a minimum requirement. You can do more. Is how I-
Agreed.
And to that, I'll reference back to the water board meeting last week, they had one person. Sort of wanted to represent everybody else, and he filled the speaker card out and he says if I could have 3 more minutes, and everybody okayed it back here, cause he said. He was the one that wanted to talk, and the other ones didn't, so in that way, the water board, I don't wanna say vented, but accommodated him. And he got to talk for his 15-20 minutes, it wasn't 30, and then it was done, so I agree, I think it's up to the chairman to sort of wave and waffle a little bit. You know, every comment period is gonna be different.
Right, Denny.
I'm all for getting any questions answered,
Yeah,
no matter what. I mean, if they're coming in here for a reason, I wanna hear it.
Yeah, yeah.
And if the chair has the ability to recognize them and hear it, I'm good with that.
And Madam Chair, they do put on there what they're coming for.
Yeah.
So that if it's more appropriate to put them in with what we're discussing, you know, so yeah, I think we'll get it figured out as it goes along.
And that's kind of what we decided in the beginning. We didn't want to be limited to having to make them wait till the end of the meeting. If we knew, you know, we know what topic they're here for. That's why with the library, we allowed them, we called them up during the library meeting instead of. What's the point of us holding our discussion on the library and making them wait till the end of the meeting? So, but it's also impossible to do up an agenda and know where to put this public comment period when you don't get. The comment cards till right prior to the meeting, so that's why it's at the, you know, I would say that's why it's at the very end. Christina.
Yeah, so we need it on the agenda somewhere,
Yeah.
but I could put a note on it to just explain. You know, the commissioners could call, comments during the time slot of what is being discussed.
That would be, I think that
To
would be a good
clarify
change.
for people looking at the agenda.
I agree.
And that could be in the.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
And then, I know during our library meeting, since we did have so many people in the room, I did ask Christina to just kind of watch the 3 minutes. But it just kind of gave me a heads up, so someone didn't go on and on and on and take up a lot of time. I don't think I ever, when you told me it was 3 minutes, I didn't say like,
No.
you're done, 3 minutes is up. That's not what I think we're going to do,
Right.
or how we wanna handle it, so. I felt for our first go around that it went pretty well with the public comment period, and the other thing I wanna make clear is. We've always welcomed people to come in and be part of the commission meeting, to be able to comment. We just ask that they get on the agenda. You know, so this isn't like brand new, it's not like, oh, the state is making the commission allow people to have the ability to speak. We always allowed that, it was just in a different format, so.
Correct. It's all about educating the public on the current format.
Okay,
So,
well, thank you very much,
You bet.
Chris, appreciate it,
Yes.
appreciate your help.
absolutely.
What is the glare on the clock? Okay, and we are running a little ahead of time. Do you think you'd have anyone coming in for your?
No.
Okay, why don't you come up? We've got Ed 70 next with the Sidwell contract renewal. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning. So before you today is, a new contract that, we would, for your consideration with the Sidwell Company. We typically do these on a 3-year contract. So a little background, Sidwell Company is who we contract with to run our, ag land or soil evaluations every year. They've got a computer program that we give them input into as far as land use, soil types. Valuation per acre for each soil type. And then, once everything's all set up, at a click of a button, the program will value 10,000 parcels of ag land in a matter of seconds. So that's, the gist of what they do for us. So just to give you, just to go through the costs, the projected costs, the contract entails on page 5. The first line is GIS maintenance services. This is something, this is what their main fee is, and that is to maintain the agricultural land use layer, at my direction. So if the shelter belt is removed, we change that to tillable acres, or if if the shelter belt is planted, we remove the tillable acres and make that a shelter belt, those type of things. And then the annual farms processing is the actual calculation of the values for each of the ag land parcels. So year 1 is 4,870, which is, it is a 14% increase from this past year. And then the years 2 and 3 is a 6% increase over year 1. So there is a jump from our previous contract to the year 1 of this contract. And then a 6% annual increase after that. So I believe our previous contract was a 5 or 6% increase every year as well. So the second line is a soils layer. So every 3 or 4 years, we typically would update our soils layer based on any changes that NRCS has instituted over those 3 or 4 years. So we have the most accurate and up-to-date soil types for each of these parcels. So that's just a once every 3 or 4 years. So we've scheduled it for year 3 tentatively, $2,220. And then the technology access fee line, that is a new charge that they started instituting to customers in 2024, I was told, when I inquired about what that is and why. Basically, it's their support and development fee. So most of our software, we pay a annual support, whether it's TaxWise or CamaVision, Vanguard. Sidwell never had that in contracts before, and now they've started to do that for $400 and then $25 a year increase on that. So overall, you're looking at a total of $19,005 over the 3 years. So this would be starting for the 2025, 26 tax year. The first payment would be due, I think, in October or November of this year. And I have budgeted for it already. I'm not quite that amount. It's a little light on my estimate, but I do have it in my budget. So that is the gist of the 3-year contract for your consideration today.
Jenny,
What would we do without it?
We would manually calculate 10,000 parcels by hand in our office.
So we'll make a motion to approve the contract.
I'll second it, but I got a question. You remember what we were paying before this, roughly? Cause you said it went up 6-7%.
Yeah, so it was, this past year, we paid 4,200 something,
Okay,
and now this coming year, we're paying 5,200. Yep, and then it's a 5%, 6% increase after that, so.
I want to comment on Danny's comment, what we wouldn't do without it. I remember them soil committee meetings and everything, and Ed was sitting there and all of a sudden somebody wanted something changed on a soil type and he poked it in there and all of a sudden it went like this and everything was changed. And I went, wow, what would, to me, this is the greatest thing that happened in the county when we talk about soil and land.
I believe they've been doing this farms processing for us since 2018, and I know we were working with them before that when we were experimenting. That was before my time as tax director, but yeah, no, it's a great program. It's been working well. I don't have any complaints with their services. They're great to work with.
any other questions, Fred? All right, I have a motion and a second. I will take roll. Denny.
Yes.
Amy. Yes. Paul.
Yes.
Ernie.
Yes,
Myself, yes. Motion approved.
All right, Madam Chair, I left a copy of this contract by your chair this morning to sign. I don't know if you want to do that now or if you want to just get it to me later.
I'll just do it right now.
Okay. One other update, the delinquent mobile homes, April has been working diligently on those and we to collect what we could. We had 21 mobile homes that didn't respond or didn't pay after 2 notices, so that list has now been sent to Officer Graham to start her portion of that, serving and putting notices and stuff up, so that's where we're at with typically we're in that 20 every year range that we have to really chase down, so that's where we're at with those.
Thanks, Ed.
Okay, anything else? Okay, thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And then there's. Sorry about that. I didn't see that
That's okay.
up there.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have Crystal. With dispatcher position advertising. Good morning, Crystal.
Good morning.
Good morning, Crystal.
So Andy and I had a conversation last week about our open dispatch position, how we've just kind of been holding off on advertising it pending what we're going to be doing, but since we've been short-staffed for a few months, thought it might be good to come and ask to advertise for it and try to get someone in since we are funded for it for this year as well as next year. So wanted to discuss your thoughts on that.
Madam Chair, Crystal and I have talked and she has some thoughts and ideas on making, you know, it's hard for me as the portfolio holder to see them run short when it's budgeted, and so like I told her, we don't know how advertising would go. She has some ideas, thinking about part-time, potentially 2 part-time positions or 1 full-time, like putting it out to see if there would be interest in one or the other, and I think that I'd like to see the department run full staff if they're able, so I would make a motion that we allow her to advertise for a dispatcher position of either 2 part-time. Is that right, Crystal?
Yep, so what we kind of discussed is that opportunity of us being full-time, it's funded for this year as well as for next year to be full staffed at 7. Benefits of doing part-time is we could possibly get in a couple different people to kind of fill in some gaps, have a little bit of better scheduling. With the scheduling comes up another ask that we've kind of discussed a little bit, in regards to currently dispatch is the only position within the county that is a rotating shift schedule that we still have to maintain 40 hours a week. So it kind of makes creating a better schedule for them very difficult to find, especially when you have a lower amount of people. So we've kind of talked about possibly going to maybe looking at asking to change the policy manual that we could go to 36 hours full-time.
Can I just hold you off there?
Yep.
Since we have a motion on the table
Yep.
about hiring, can we finish that
Yep.
first? And then go on to your next topic? Is that fine? Okay, I have a motion. Did I get a second?
I don't think so.
Okay, I don't think so either.
Did we get a motion?
I
Amy
made
made a motion to hire, and your motion was to hire 1 full-time or 2 part-time, correct?
I'll second it.
All right, any discussions? Paul?
I understand your concern and your concern about running shorthanded. Being an advocate for a move to state radio, I'm hesitant to hire. Although I don't like the idea of this department running short-staffed either, so I'm a little torn, to be honest. We haven't made a decision on that, and I don't think that's gonna happen anytime real soon. So I guess if that's what, I think I can support this. I'm struggling with it though, to be honest. I think I can support this because I don't want you to run short-staffed any longer than you have to.
Madam Chair, I agree. I think we have this meeting planned to set up in October, and like I told Crystal, I think then the commission has to make a decision, you know, at some point. And if we proceed, then we need to discuss what we're doing. You know, we have a vacancy with Frank's position. Crystal is filling an interim, and you know, in my opinion, is doing a great job. And so, but we do have to kind of figure out those positions. So, that's a little bit of a ways away. We don't know how we're gonna get applicants or how they're gonna fill. I just feel that this is the best move at this point to be able to be supportive to our employees and staff for their work environment.
I do already have someone who's interested in part-time, so we had been contacted a while ago by someone who had dispatch experience in Grand Forks, who had relocated to the county. But we weren't offering any type of part-time positions at that time. I did see her last week at the EM conference and she would still be interested. So that's an option if we were to advertise another, choosing the two part-time.
Okay, so part-time, define part-time to me. What would it be less than 20 hours, more than 20 hours? How are we setting up this part-time schedule?
So that would kind of depend on what type of schedule we have. So if we're continuing with the current schedule we have, then we just try to decide, do we want to put that person in the current, like the open slot where because we have a 7-week schedule. So do we want to put them in and just kind of fill them in 20 week? I think it would kind of 20 hours a week. Obviously, training wise, we need to have them there more frequently, but I think it's gonna be also dependent on who we get to apply and what options. We're trying to look at different scheduling options to maybe accommodate a 36-hour week type of schedule to be able to have more options. So right now, looking at our current schedule, it would be more of a fill-in basis to try to, continuity to, to supplement vacations and sick leave. Have double coverage when we need it rather than just having one person on.
So what I'm hearing then is it's probably not a benefited position then.
No, not as a part-time.
As
Part-time would
not
just be
that
paid
bad.
hourly.
Because I wanna know what we're approving, I guess.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Paul,
I was just wondering if you could try to give me some sense of the benefit of 2 part-time versus 1 full-time.
2 part-time, and then we, depending on the hours, if we had them each at 20 hours a week, then it would be a full-time, but then they're not benefited. Then, I did some, just from like 2025 math, just as far as if we paid for a family plan for the life insurance, and then I went off of what, like the lowest, paid dispatcher we have right now as in regards to North Dakota PERS. So in total for those 3 things, we pay out, almost $30,000 a year for benefits. So that would be the benefit of having part-time people.
But I'm sorry, my question is from a scheduling perspective.
For a scheduling perspective, you're gonna have less overtime, less, stress on the dispatchers from trying to, rather than, right now, we have a lot of people going from night shift to having a couple days off to coming to day shift. So we're trying to come up with a different schedule to make it more compatible and less stressful on everyone so that it's more attractive to be able to have.
So it would affect your scheduling.
Yes.
Full staff.
Correct.
yes, Amy.
And Kristen and I have talked to, I think she has had some rumblings and has heard over the years that there's been interest when it comes to part-time. I guess my opinion is if you have someone that's interested in a part-time spot, they wouldn't be a brand new dispatcher, right? There would be someone who has had experience somewhere else so that they could come in and still function in a part-time spot. If it's someone that has never dispatched, I don't like that idea as a part-time, because that would be a very difficult to try to get them, someone that's dispatched before, yes, they need orientation and to be able to learn the ropes, but it's not brand new to them. So it would be a much easier fit than, someone that's totally new.
And I agree, we probably have people out there that would like a part-time job, maybe they don't wanna work full-time, but they would be willing to do part-time, so if we have someone that's showing some interest, absolutely. And then it would relieve the stress on your staff and you as well.
Yep.
So almost like an on-call type.
Correct, yeah, I mean, as long as different, like right now, if somebody calls in sick, we're trying to like, who can fill in where it's like this person can't because they have to come in at this time. I got back from the EM conference and we had someone that was sick, and so I ended up coming back and working 3 AM to 7 AM one day because we needed someone, so, just being able to have an additional person to be able to cover is huge. So.
And I do think that we have to keep this department up and running. We have not made a decision, so we should be filling the position. So, all right, any other discussion or questions for Crystal? Okay, hearing none, I'll take roll. Amy?
Yes.
Danny?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Ernie?
Yes.
Myself, yes, motion carried.
Okay,
All
and
right,
do you want me to continue it's nothing that needs to be made a decision today, but just about the idea as the 36 hours?
you
Or
know
should we
what,
talk about
let
another
me
time?
just look at, yeah, we have a little bit of time. I mean, it wasn't on the agenda. But we can add it. You can toss the idea out there, there won't be any
Yeah.
decisions made
No,
because
and
it's
that's-
on the agenda, and
no.
plus we would need Tanya involved.
Correct, I did speak with Tanya about it and, cause when Amy and I discussed, I said, should I talk about this as well? And said we should,
Mhm.
just at least to throw it out there,
Mhm.
decisions need to be made, of course. But it just been a talk and a discussion of when we're trying to create a different schedule and to have something, you know, we're the only 24/7 based, you know, department that has to fit within that standard 40 hours a week. So it makes it difficult to come up with brand new schedules or to try to get straight shifts for people, which has always been hard to be able to get to retain people, because nobody wants to work a rotating shift for this amount of money when you can go to Marvin's or you can go to the state school and have your straight shifts. So it's very difficult for that. And so we kind of discussed, you know, a lot of times ERs will do that. Is you're working 36 hours, you're considered a full-time employee, you're getting your benefits. It cuts back on your overtime because you still don't get your overtime until you're over 40 hours. And then it would alleviate a lot of that stress and be more attractive to potential employees. So that was just kind of the conversation about looking at if that would be an interest. I know we've spoken to all our dispatchers about it. They're very interested in it. Maybe changing to 12 hours instead of the 10 hours they're on right now for different shifts. Everyone's on board with it that way. It's just an idea that we've been throwing around.
You presented this to us previously, because we had this discussion on
I don't think-
holidays being very long.
I don't think I have. I know Brent had brought it up
Was
at
it
one
Brent?
point. And I believe I had spoken with a couple of you individually about it before. So just as a thought process, so,
So they work 36 hours, but they get paid for 40?
correct. So they'd be salaried employee at 36 hours, but they wouldn't receive any type of overtime until after 40. Mhm.
How often would they work 40?
We would just need to look at different schedules. So right now Sheila's trying to come up with different schedules to be able to figure out how we could be able to manage it. And whether, you know, different opportunities of, will we do that with 7 people or we do that with 6 people and 2 part-time people? So there's a lot of different specifics we'd have to go into kind of tweak that schedule to be able to make it work properly.
Just a question, how does your scheduling differ from the sheriff's department scheduling? Cause you said you were the only department, so I'm assuming
Correct.
this is different.
So they're on a, you know, you might be able to speak to that a little more, but you guys are on a 28-day schedule.
Correct.
So 1 week you might have 20, 30 hours, the next week you might have 50, 60, so long as you have a certain amount of hours within that 28-day.
Correct.
Correct. Whereas we have to keep within that 40 hours because we're considered civilian. So if we don't have that 40 hours within that week, then that's when you're using your vacation or sick leave. Which
It's
then
my
means,
understanding, we don't have the option to go to a
We
20-day
don't.
schedule with dispatch.
no,
Where we do with the.
Right.
yes.
Very.
I'm a little leery about the feedback if somebody working 36 hours and us paying them for 40. I'm just saying that. I don't know if it's legal or we can, but I can just about imagine if somebody would say, well, how come you're paying them for 40 hours? And they're only working 36, so I'm a little iffy on that. I'll listen to you when you come up with stuff, but I would check into it, make sure we can or
It
whatever.
is legal, it's up to
Okay.
employer discretion. I checked
Okay.
with there's nothing stating with like labor laws that you can't do it. So
Okay.
it's up to employer discretion.
That's why you said they'd be salaried and not hourly.
Yes,
Yeah.
so they would be considered salaried and then
Okay.
we would, anyone who would be part-time would be considered hourly. So.
Good explanation, so somebody can hear that.
Mhm.
Madam Chair, I mean, I think, you know, just to commend Crystal for thinking of different, we know that this department has really struggled with being able to keep staff and I worked as a nurse here at the hospital and I had 12-hour shifts, and to be honest, you know, those extra 4 hours, I probably worked 40 more often than not, but I could pick them up or I could help, you know, so it gives a little bit of, like she said, more options, more ability to, from a workplace environment, you know, being happy with where they are and proceeding, so I think it's something we just keep looking into and maybe bring back.
But when you say that you picked up, you went up to 40 hours, I guess my question is if I'm getting paid for 36, why would I be so willing to pick up another 4 hours? If the pay is the same for 36 hours or 40 hours?
You were on an hourly wage, I'm assuming.
Yes,
Yeah, to me, there's no incentive. If you're salaried at 36 hours, you're not stepping up to the plate to pick up another 4 hours.
It depends.
I mean, there might be a few people that would, but
We have a lot of people that, you know, in our dispatch center, they step up because that's the call of the job. You know, when we need someone to fill in a shift, whether they've, you know, had vacation that week, so they're not getting overtime for it, they're getting straight time where, you know what, I have this much vacation, so now I'm picking up this additional shift, so I'm just taking away some of vacation, I'm not getting paid for it.
But I guess my question is
Yeah.
why couldn't we do 36 hours at an hourly rate? And then if they do go up to the 40, they get the additional.
But
It doesn't
discuss
have
that
to,
as well,
it does
correct?
not have to be salaried.
Correct, yeah, we could look at that as well.
Okay,
I just know when I worked, you know, I do 3/12s
Mhm.
and you work 3 days, you have 4 off. And it can really be a satisfier in terms of feeling like you're having that work-life balance.
Mhm.
In
Yeah.
8-hour shifts, it's hard to
I
just
worked-
to back.
Yeah, I worked at Ellen Wind Power for 5 years doing weekend shifts, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 12-hour shifts, work 36, get paid for 40, but majority of the time I was there 16 to 18-hour days for those days, because the job needed to be done.
my
So-
one concern is
Mhm.
you both had very physical jobs.
Yes.
This is a sit at the desk, stare at computer jobs, and I did a desk job.
Mhm.
And 8 hours you're short, 9 hours you're going down, 10 hours, I was done, I was fried. 12 hours, that concerns me. You know, I can see where it'd be nice to have 3 days on, 4 days off, that'd be great. But are you as sharp, are you, that concerns me, because it's different than physical labor. You
It
know,
is, and I mean, you're going.
Paul,
I was just gonna say, it might be interesting to see if there are other dispatch centers that do a 12-hour shift. And how do you, that's a good point, but how do you,
how do you stay sharp?
how do you alleviate that issue?
Right, right. Okay, well, food for thought.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, well, thank you very
Thanks,
much,
Crystal.
appreciate it.
And after that is look at your flight dispatchers. All the hours they're putting in and all the stuff that's starting to happen.
Right, right, not as safe
Sharp.
as, not as safe as it used to be, right? Okay. Do we need a break or do you wanna keep going? You good? Okay, all right, up next, Christina, we're just about right on time here. We have you, Christina.
All right, so the NDACO annual conference registration, should have gotten an email about it from Jeff Effing, who sent that out. It's happening October 26th through 28th at the Bismarck Event Center in Bismarck. To get the early bird discount, you must register by October 10th. I can send that link out to everyone again, for registration. After October 10th, it's an extra $50. So, and you can go to the NDACO website and register as well.
I have registered, I believe Amy you have.
And I have, and Jason has.
Okay.
That I know of, so.
Okay, Paul, you've never been to one of these, so
So, does everybody go to that or?
Try to.
we try to.
It was an excellent, I mean, it kind of what brought me, when I was talking to Chris about the PIO, they had breakout sessions and that, I thought they were pretty really good.
I've always learned a lot at these meetings. I've gone every year since I've been a commissioner and I find them beneficial.
I probably won't go just because of Julie's health and stuff, and we get that screen eye.
So what about reservations? Do we do that on our own too?
The hotel reservations,
I haven't done any reservations, I can look into where we direct bill at for Bismarck, I'm not sure.
Christy and I we booked at the Holiday Inn and not all, they don't direct bill, but basically you pay for it and you submit your receipt to Christina. Or you can, I've also stayed at La Quinta Inn right off the highway, off the interstate, and they do direct bill.
Okay.
That one's, I think that one's a nice.
That's where we stayed last time, then.
they did put out a list of hotels that offered the state rates and this Holiday Inn that we booked out. I've stayed there a few times now, very, very nice. And they do state rates. It's just that they don't direct bill.
Right.
And the conference itself is in the, is it the?
Bismarck Event Center.
All of it is.
Civic Center.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it starts Sunday night.
Yeah, so we've in the past have had a meals like Sunday night around 6:30-ish.
Jail by a meal Sunday night.
Usually, I guess we shouldn't count on it. And so then there is a social Sunday night, main conference starts Monday.
And then these breakout sessions all day Monday and, yeah, and then Tuesday, I think it goes till about 1, 2,
1:30-ish.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
All right, so at the conference, we need a Walsh County delegate. For their annual meeting. Last year it was Karen Anderson. So we need to call a vote, or Christie needs to call a vote to elect a Walsh County delegate for our county.
And I have done it, Amy has done it.
Basically, you just show up for the meeting, isn't it?
It's a Tuesday morning meeting. I
Tuesday
believe.
morning at 8 AM and you put a vote in for.
For the NDACO State Council.
Mhm.
I'll nominate Christie.
I think it's good as, if you're coming, Paul, it's good for the newbie to be involved with it so that you know what's going on.
And he
So
couldn't-
I will
I'll second your
nominate.
nomination.
Okay,
Are you gonna nominate Paul?
Karen said, last time she wanted to do it as chair. I mean, is it wrong to have the chair do it? Like, just.
I guess we've done it here everywhere.
Very, yeah, it got pinned on. It's just.
It's
fine.
not a big deal.
Here, I did it, I wasn't chairman.
you get a little ribbon on your name tag, pretty special.
Are you gonna nominate?
I'll nominate Paul.
I'll second it. We'll have some fun here.
Okay.
Are you
Secret
fine?
ballot now, or?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, I'm not sure what to do
I'm gonna
now.
find out who likes you.
Would you like to do it, Paul?
I have no problem doing it.
Or do you know if you're going?
I think I am.
Okay.
I haven't looked at the logistics, but I plan to go. Let me just check my calendar to make sure, but.
It's just the meeting. That 8 AM meeting is all that's required of you as a
Right.
delegate,
Right,
Tuesday morning.
and I guess I found it was kind of a good little learning experience to know what
I do
What
have-
that was about.
I have it on my calendar, so there's nothing else.
Okay.
I mean, if you want me to do it, I will, but. I think
Okay.
you'd be.
I think
Do you want-
we can all attend the meeting, it's just,
Yeah.
he's delegate.
Sometimes if you think in years back, that meeting or that delegate meeting started interfered with the conference with the DOT too. If we had an early meeting.
That's right.
I know that, cause we,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, and that's probably the only negative I'm gonna say is that you just can't go to the DOT. And we don't know what time they're gonna be scheduled there yet either, so.
Yeah.
But that's probably the only negative, that if you wanted to be there, then you're not included there, cause you're over there at the delegate one.
Right.
But that's-
and
it's not-
pretty slim chance.
Yeah, it hasn't happened that often, but it has happened.
Okay, so we have two nominations on the table. Do you want to withdraw by chance?
Withdraw my nomination.
Okay, just. Okay, I have a nomination and a second for Paul to attend the delegate meeting.
Tire tracks on my back.
Sounds like a rope around your neck.
It's the newbie's job. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
I,
All opposed, same sign. All right, motion carried. Paul, you will be attending.
Okay.
I guess it wasn't a motion.
it's
Okay,
not too painful.
it's not.
I got-
And you're gonna have all these tags on your name tag, but you're gonna get the newbie name tag, when you're newbie, and then you're gonna be the delegate, and
I got
it'll
confidence.
be
It'll
important.
be decorated.
Thank you.
I would say they decorate idiots once in a while.
And you get breakfast with it.
Yeah, you do.
They have breakfast with it.
Okay. So the last thing, is the ND Fit free health screenings. So ND Fit contacted us to set up free health screenings for our employees, insured employees and their insured spouses. It's gonna be October 16th in the farmer's room from 9 to 4:30. We're waiting on the flyers and information sent from ND Fit, and then we'll get it out to everyone, all our county employees. That is gonna go on October 16th in the farmer's room.
16.
October 16th, it's a Thursday from 9 to 4:30.
So is it just kind of a come and go as you?
Yeah,
want?
just whenever, stop in, whenever they test, like your triglycerides, blood pressure, do like a little
Prostate.
fingerprint.
No. I hope not.
Yeah. So,
I had
and
my
then
wellness
it's
check.
no cost to the county and no cost to the employee. So,
Okay, good, yeah, good to know that. You never know what they may find.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a good thing.
Dig into.
Alright. Okay, up next, we have Jason. And I'm not gonna list all your updates.
Never mind, go on.
You died already.
Morning,
Morning, Jason.
don't worry, I don't got lots of stuff, just look like it. First thing on the agenda today was a permit application from Trent Medichek. It's for cleaning out a culvert on County 19 and 22, or not the culvert. It's for cleaning out a ditch. He's gonna be removing two blockages that are out there in the road. When he does that, then when he does those, he'll also put a culvert underneath them, or the boat coming across, and the water board signed off on it last week. So I'll just keep this to show you. Nice. I don't like the new glitter. Used to always be in the roads really.
That's matched it, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say it in the matcher.
Yeah,
One of the long narrow waters in the Walsh County.
Right, we have to go west.
no, that'd be. So great.
That map really has a lot of color.
Yeah, it's too much. Right, the road's moving. That. Well, anyways, it's on 22 and 19, there's. What he's gonna be doing, there's not gonna be any issues. From the highway department's standpoints, it's gonna be going to a culvert that we're gonna be replacing out soon. As well, this will be the same size culvert he's putting in to what we're gonna be replacing. So all any of the water that would be there, it's on a crest, and I don't see it being an issue of any kind, it won't be draining anything, any wetlands or anything like that. It's just going to help move some water out of it so we can prevent soft spots that are filling up in 19 where that water can't cross. So right now the water sits in an area where there's pools and there's houses on the other side of it, so we just can move that water out of there.
Is this by Trent's, the farmstead?
Yeah, it's just to the left, it's
Okay,
right at the intersection of 19 and 22.
oh, where the old school is.
Yep,
Okay.
by Slaughter School.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve their permit.
I'll second.
okay, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll take roll, Ernie.
Yep.
Danny,
Yes.
Amy, yes, Paul,
Yes.
myself, yes, motion carried.
Thank you. Next item I have is we've updated our fleet a little bit by getting some vehicles from the sheriff's department. After talking with Barry and Paul, in the past, we've taken these vehicles and put them onto auction sites to do it. These vehicles that we'll be selling this time aren't gonna have that kind of a value, so I was looking to see if the commissioners had any problems with me just putting it out for a mail-in bid where everybody in the county can bid it. We'll put it in the paper advertising it, so you give people time to take a look at it. People, the vehicles, one of them is gonna need some major work and the other ones have major hours or miles on them, so. It's yeah, one pickup, that Jerry Tom used to drive, that I haven't had that engine issue this year. And then, with the, Suburban that we used to have, that's been, the main Suburban's been here forever, and another pickup, so. The pickups are in that 200,000 plus miles range, so. So there's not much value there for them, so. Just looking for permission to do it that way instead of putting them onto a auction site and then going through that process and then getting a check out of it as well for, rightfully so, but. A little bit more money in ours.
Ernie, generally years back, we used to do it that way, have a county sale and stuff, and we had pretty good luck on it, but like you said, these. They're not gonna bring a lot of value, and why pay somebody else to sell them to see what you can get out of them.
Lose the commission.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I would move to sound in-house, like Jason described.
Okay, I have a motion to have a second.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a roll. Denny? Paul?
Yes.
Ernie?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Myself, yes, motion carried.
Alright, thank you. And now for good news. So we've had, the first round of selections have gone through the North Dakota, DOT bridge grants. Which you see up here in yellow are ones that they have nominated for, semifinalists. The first one is out on County 2, Fairdale Drain, just south of Fairdale. Well, that one has issues with bridge caps and different things. That was on the, towards the top of the DOT's list. The other one is the one west of Nash on number 9. This bridge is something that just drives me crazy. So we went and did the work, and then we were told it was fine. And then the inspections, then they did another inspection, and it's still on the poor list. So being it was on the poor list still, it was actually the DOT's #1 rated bridge for Walsh County that they recommended being replaced and removed. And that's because when the inspection came back, it said the other bridge cap needed to be replaced now. So we've had many discussions, Ernie had reached out to the governor's office and different things about that, and I spoke with John Ketterling, and they're taking a look at this, because I told them we're not getting the consistency that we need for our bridge inspections. They just don't match up, so we had a 45-minute conversation about that. About this bridge and a couple of others that keep popping up on radars. The other 5 bridges that you see out here are for removals. The Golden 127th, there's one that we've had flex funds before that we're gonna be putting, that's going back in for flex funds through the township portion. That's right next to this. This is 2 miles to the west of Highway 32. The bridge that sits right here is it'll be on the flex. We've already got money to design. Now we're hoping to go through for construction and finalization. That one, we'll see if we can get that through the township portions of the grant. These are bridges around Grafton. This is in Oakwood Township. This one's in Grafton Township. With these are old pony trusses. This one, you can see from Google Earth, it actually picks it up. How farmers are going down off the road. So there's the bridge. The farmers can't get their equipment to cross it, so they're bypassing it themselves by going off the road, down through the ditch, up around and back up. So we just remove this bridge and just get it out of there. The DOT would not put anything back into there afterwards, but they would help pay for the removal of those bridges. Those 2 bridges are pony trust bridges, so they will be, as well as the Golden Township Bridge is a pony trust. So all 3 of those will have to go up for adoption. And as part of this whole process, they get rid of them. If nobody adopts them, then they can just get removed.
Paul?
Can you explain adoption to me?
Somebody buys it basically.
Somebody can basically says, I'll take that bridge, and then it gets moved to their properties,
Oh, the bridge itself.
the bridge itself.
Okay.
That they remove it or we?
Depends on how it's written. Sometimes they pay for the removal of it, sometimes it's part of the project.
We never had one adopted, ever.
Since I've been here, I think the county gave one to.
Bible camp.
The Bible Club got one.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's a Kusky Mark one, I don't know if you ever got it, back by our time.
Well, after if they're adopted and they're moved to people's places, if they use them for something, they're 100% liable for everything. It's off our books, we're not responsible for it in any manner.
Amy, Madam Chair, how long do they have to be up for adoption?
It's a couple of weeks, 3 weeks. It's plenty of time, so. There'll be a list of things, and we have, if you don't get one of these, 4,
Yeah, there'll be more.
there's more. We have 30 more options coming down the pipe at some point in time.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
On that one where they were driving around the bridge,
Mhm.
what was the point of the bridge if they're able to drive around it?
Well, the drain used to be part of that.
And it's no longer there, it's, oh, okay, that's why.
Bypass and everything that's got around town.
So do fill the road in and they could use it.
Okay,
Yeah, so, yeah, the road could get filled back in afterwards, we may have to put a small culvert back in it. But it's not a bridge, it won't be inspected. The farmers will actually be able to use it, and when that one and the other one around Graff, over by Prestings. This is the Holland Bridge, this is the Presting Bridge, with those being removed, you basically have a unofficial bypass for the big equipment to go through town, around town, so they don't have to go through Highway 17. They'll have an option, not saying a lot of people will, but they'll have an option. So I think it'd be, having that as an option will help make a lot of farmers happier when you see their cultivators going through town, that they don't have to worry about hitting a stoplight or anything else out there, so.
so this is not a done deal yet, but you
Not a
said
done
this
deal.
is the first round for the flex funds.
Yeah,
And is that just the orange bridges?
the orange bridges are removals,
Removal?
the yellow bridges are replacements.
Okay, so far, we made it through the first round on these.
Yeah, so far we made it through the first round for these 7, 5 for removal and 2 for replacement. The other ones that are up for removal, this is just on the northeast corner of Forest River. This is another Pony Trust Bridge, so if the other 3 aren't close enough to you, this one would maybe. It's just on the north side of town. So just on the northwest side of town, right now that bridge is. Not very good, I'm surprised it's still open after the last inspections, it's the 3-ton posting. On it, which is as low as you can get before they close it, so. It really just creates a blockage through there for things too, so it's removable, we'll just move stuff to the newer bridges that were built off of number 6. So, we did one last spot for ice and things to get them all. So that'll be a good one to have removed. The last one on the list for removal that the DOT felt was a good thing to have removed is west of Fortville. So this be where the railroad tracks are, and this is a bridge that comes through here. It's a low rated bridge, the abutments are tipping in. And just not in very good shape. That was not a Pony Trust, it's got concrete abutment walls and different pieces for it. But that would be another one on the list for removals.
So what would they do there if they remove that?
Nothing, it'll just be removed. So people would have to use the township road from south.
Bondage bridge, isn't
Well, that's what I'm wondering,
At this point in time, it wouldn't be anything, if that bridge. The bridge with heavy equipment and shouldn't be going across that one, it's a lower rated bridge right now. And
so the road would be closed.
wow, the township road would still be open, you could get to there from the south, you just won't be able to get there off of 19. So they'll still have access, it'll just be off of 19, and for any loaded truck or anything, they shouldn't be going across that bridge,
But what about a pickup?
you know? Pickup's good for now, yeah,
But if we remove that, then
then they won't. Right. And this is kind of what we're looking at for in the future for everything, you know, it's how you, it's a great where you don't have to go the other mile around. But at the same point in time, where we gonna start drawing the line of what gets replaced for what? They still have access from the south, they're not getting locked in there. Is one of those things, so.
To me, it's a safety concern. You know, dang well, that somebody's going over that more than 3-ton rating. And that's what scares me sometimes, the liability and everything else.
it? We should talk with Jamie about that, see what their thoughts are on closing the road. Or the
Wow.
township.
yeah, I'm just thinking you have a child that's going to school and you zip out with your pickup and go to school, now you're gonna go.
Yeah, no. I think they're the only ones that would be directly affected,
That's what I think too, it would just be them.
kind of go right through their yard.
Mhm. Okay, so,
Once these get to the finals, they don't have, we get that, at that point in time, we have the choice to accept the project or not.
right, so did all our projects get accepted for bridges that we submitted, or?
We submitted 9 for replacement and 9 for removal. I'm told if they wanted more for removal, we could help find some.
And they only took 2 for removal,
Only took 2 for
so 7
removal.
or no,
Well, they took 2 for replacement.
a replacement,
Yeah, they
okay.
took 2 for replacement and they took 5.
5 for removal.
Were you happy with the ones that they chose? Or would have they been your choice?
For our replacements, I'm happy with the ones that they chose. For removals, I'm happy with a few, for 4 of them for sure. Our pony trusses, the one in Golden Township, we have problems with people removing the signs and put those things up probably 6 or 7 times since that one was closed a year and a half ago. So people keep taking them down and driving across it. So I want that bridge gone as soon as possible. Honestly, I mean, it's, people keep removing the bridge closed signs and these different things, and they're just opening up for somebody else's to fall through it. And we've talked about taking the bridge planks off of it, but if we take the bridge planks off and somebody takes the signs down, then we're a different thing. And so, I mean, we just constantly have to drive by and check and make sure the signs are up, and if they aren't, the one that we got the grant money for, from the Flex Fund last go around for the designs, people put those signs down and left the anchor, and you know, on both of those bridges in Golden Township, people have taken the barricade down and thrown them into the river, so. Dean got to use a grapple iron that the guys, or a grapple hook that the guy had created out of rebar and throw it down there to pull them back out of the river. Cause it's steep enough that you're not just climbing down there and pulling them back up, so he put the grapple on them and pull them back out. But the one bridge, they left the anchors in the road, so I got a phone call from the township officer saying, well, how come you guys are opening this bridge back up? But you left the anchors, I'm like, we didn't open that bridge. It's never, that bridge isn't open.
Well,
I'm just curious when they make the final decision on these, this is preliminary, you said.
These are preliminaries, so hopefully we'll know by December. Sounds like that's kind of when all the flex fund money and all the first round of grants will be determined is in December. Is that they're gonna let us know. And then after that round, with half of the prairie dog money that they took off, they put that into grant funds. So whatever you submit for these, if you don't get done, you do not have to resubmit for the prairie dog portion of the grant. But you have a chance of getting thrown in there, you just don't know.
Amy,
The Swanson and Rutherford bridges or the county,
Swanson Bridge is going well. The girders were placed last week and is moving right along for completion yet this fall. The Minto Bridge is moving around quite well, for completion this fall. Rutherford Bridge, no contractors yet.
that's one where they're paying fees daily.
But at this point in time, it looks like by the time that they're finished with the project, it's gonna cost them about $100,000. So,
If they file bankruptcy anymore.
No.
they won't file bankruptcy, they're too big.
They're just take $100,000 hit and.
Yeah.
you think it'll get done? I mean,
If they do, they're gonna be paying more, if they're running out of time to get it done. It's a DOT project site, they claim that they have talked to a few companies to see if they'd be willing to take it on. And they said those companies weren't interested. One of the companies that they claim they talked to, I haven't reached out to, but they just took a project with the water board, so. Cause they said they didn't have room on their schedule, well, a week after that, they did a different project, so I'm not 100% sure, so I'm gonna reach out to that company and see if they were actually contacted. And I'm gonna reach out to another one and see if they're actually contacted too, or if it's just smoke, cause at this point in time, I don't trust them. Point blank, and I mentioned this with the DOT staff, I've talked about this a lot with Ed, and Jason Peterson, who's the Grand Forks DOT district. Ethan, who's their highway guy, I talked to him about it, just him and Ed about it again yesterday. And the state, when John Kennerly knows about it, local government knows about it. So, we said last meeting, I've been complaining about these guys since July, when we had a pre-con in June and they've never shown up to this point. The signs go up, the signs come down. It's nothing but a problem.
what's the company's name again?
CSI, Construction Specialties. But they're big enough contractors and they do the interstate work and different highway work and different things. This isn't the bankruptcy type deal.
Right.
I wanna add to bridge inspection. I guess I'd like it in the minutes, so if we ever get questioned about it, cause when I called the guy in Bismarck. He, from the governor's office, and I was really happy they got back to me within an hour. He questioned me if we ever even talked to anybody about him, this inspections, and I said, we've talked to the DOT, we've talked to our legislatures, and he didn't know anything about it. So I'd like it in the minutes that we have talked to them and they've responded. One thing that concerned me, I told him, he said they got 4 regions or whatever they call it, and he said we sort of rotate them, and I said, there's your problem. I said, you're rotating everybody in different regions, and now I said, that's the problem we've got. Every time you send somebody, it's a different inspection crew, and they look at different than we do. I said, you guys really gotta look into this, and then I gave them to Jason, cause I said, number 9 was an example, and I said, there's other bridges that one time it's good, next time it's not good, third time we close it, within 7-9 months. So I just wanted in the minutes, so if I'm gone and you guys are gone, and somebody said, well, did they ever contact him? Yes, we did. We've contacted him, I don't know how many times, all of us, Commissioner.
We've talked to, I've spoken with local government about these inspections and the different things with their inspect X and the process since that started. When Brian Fuchs was there, you know, with Brandon Easy. Advising me, I've spoken with them all about these things, I brought it up at our DOT conferences, working all these different items. With this, we've had the same inspecting companies here since I started. But they have different inspectors and they rotate out their inspectors from within the company and they don't seem to have these, my problem is consistency. That's basically it. I gave them a couple of bridges they could use for quality control checks on them. The Olson Bridge came up again because with that one, that's the one that's been hit 4 times in the last 17 months. But now in this last type of review, after we replaced the girders and everything below it the last time, now when they inspected, they decided it doesn't have any paint on it. And it's rusted out enough that they're gonna have to do load posting testing on it. So basically what that means is we're gonna have to start taking a look at painting the steel and the sandblasting, just like what you see processes over interstate. Over our rivers and dams and everything, or all our waterways and drains. And taking a look at adding that, and I've told them all repeatedly that there's no way as a county we can afford to paint all our bridges. So with the new ones that we're doing, Wade and I are talking that we're on the lookout for future projects where we're in the process of ordering steel so that we can do retrofits to these. We're also gonna look at seeing how much extra it's gonna cost for us to have them painted before we bring them in.
Madam Chair, just so that it's along with Ernie's, within the minutes too. Paul and I were at the meeting when Julie Fedorchak's representative was there at City Hall and Representative Munson was also there. And he is out on the DOT appropriations, or we were talking to him about. He was never aware of any of this that we talked about with consistency, that the inspections. So what he asked, like, what is your request? And what we told him was that we could have the opportunity for local inspections like KOJ and still have the cost share. It moves that if we were to go with someone more local to be able to have the consistency. So we really wanted, like, what do you need? And that's where we ended with him.
Yeah, and we told that to the governor's office too, that why can't we do it locally? I mean, I told the guy, I said, you come here and look at the bridge and I'll look at the bridge, and I said, I'll bet you we come up with 2 different ideas. And I said, that's what's wrong, there's no consistency.
I think it would be beneficial to include Representative Munson in any emails you have with the DOT or the governor's office, or maybe all of our representatives. I think keeping them in would be a good idea, long term.
Cause he didn't really know any.
But he was here one time when Karen and them all sat here and we talked to Karen, the commissioner, we talked about it. So if he's telling you he didn't know about it, then either he's forgetful or whatever, cause I know we've talked to him about it. This has been going on a long time. So that's why I sort of went and tried to get a hold of the governor, cause I figured, well, we'll see what's really going on.
I think that's why it's important to include them in the emails, because
Well,
it's
yeah,
kind of an
yeah.
ongoing thing then.
Yeah.
It's costing us a lot of money to pay for these inspections, $250,000 a year roughly. To pay for these inspections, and we're getting subpar work. That's not right, and it costs our taxpayers a lot of money, and I know, Jason, you have tried, I know we've all tried.
Yeah.
Something needs to change. I'm fine with fixing a bridge, we want our bridges safe. But give us quality work, quality inspections when you come out, so we aren't throwing money down the drain. Okay, next topic.
Last topic I had for you today was, something that Crystal had started a while ago. I just kind of put some gas onto it, I guess. About getting the county credit cards and getting them removed from tied to my personal social security and my numbers. And the rest of the departments that have the credit cards that are tied to us. And going to a corporate credit card from the county. Crystal set up a meeting with JP Morgan that we sat in on. It was Tanya and Christie were able to attend, myself. Crystal, with that process, we kind of discussed different things. JP Morgan has a credit card that they can give to us where the cards don't cost anything. There's no fee for it, there's no fees of the systems. They have a rebate system where the more you use it, the higher you use it, the more often you use it, the more money you can get back. And they have options for what the internet, we can have cards for every individual, we can have cards just for different things. And we can turn them on and turn them off as a department head needs. So it gives the department heads a lot more control over the credit cards that they have for inside the department. And I guess it's something that I would like a motion that we could move forward with. So that we can get these away, so we don't. You know, there could always be an instance where we have staff that get credit letters saying your credit has gone down, but we're paying for all of our bills and different things, because we're tied to other stuff.
Make a motion to proceed with the credit card.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'm sure, I'm just wondering, if Christina has any, but, I mean, are we just planning on the department heads having them and distributing to who? You know, right now, it's the department heads that are doing it on your own? Or this would just replace that?
This would replace the credit cards we have with county credit cards,
Okay,
corporate credit card.
and then it would be the department heads would have them, essentially, is how it would start?
Go ahead, Christina.
Yeah, so we had this call on Friday and I felt it was very helpful to know more about the program. In the email that Cedric sent back to us, he listed some of the features, and one of the things that I felt would be very helpful for efficiencies in our county is that it provides general ledger coding. And so I can take from the credit card portal and upload it into our Tyler system. All of the transactions, and it will do automatic journal entries. Once I post the entries with the correct general ledger code, once we set it up in their system. And so we have in our office, you know, it's a full-time job paying all the bills and writing up the vouchers and the checks. So what it would do is the department heads would get the statements and they would match up the transactions, make sure everything is correct. And then, you know, give my office the approval that everything is correct and it can be paid. You guys would get a printout of everything paid still. So the bills are done on a monthly basis, so we would get the bill the first of the month. And then it can be ACH paid on the 25th. So you would have time to review it at the second Tuesday of the month meeting and do that approval, and then it would be paid. But I can see it causing a lot of efficiency in my office. Once we get it set up, it'll be a lot of work initially, but it will reduce human error as well to have those account codes in the system. And then to move to streamline, paying our bills over the JP Morgan credit cards. Even to do the utility payments on that credit card payment. Anything that we pay monthly, we can move to that with automatic general ledger code input and integration into Tyler. We have the purchase card capability already. We just have to turn it on, so it's no extra cost to the county for that purchase card capability in our accounting system already. And Cedric said that it integrates into Tyler.
And just to add to that, a couple questions I had was, okay, so if we put our, say we put our utilities on the credit card, for example. And a lot of these places will charge a fee. So if they charge the fee, what we need to look at is, will our rebate offset the fee? That's what the gentleman giving us the credit card training said, you know, if your fee is, say it's 2%, 1 or 2%, maybe your rebate is 3%. So we're going to need to weigh some of these. I'm not in favor of putting it on there if we're going to pay an additional fee, if it's, the
Yeah.
rebate's not going to cover it. That was one thing. The other item I liked was they can have a credit card set up if they wanted for, say, the Walsh County Highway Department. Or they can have it in Jason's name. I don't think our intent is to give out a credit card to every employee in their name.
No.
We'd have one mainly probably for the department, and then I know, Jason, you had mentioned maybe you'd have a travel card where if an employee is traveling, then they give out that travel card, but there can be limits set on that travel card where it's only for gas or whatever's needed. The other thing is they can attach the receipts. I really like that all the receipts can be attached for each transaction.
Via your phone, or like it's for.
Yeah, they take a picture on their phone, take a picture of the receipt and attach it to the credit card, was my understanding. There's also liability protection. I said, what happens if we have an employee that uses this card for an unauthorized use? And we do have protection through the credit card company. Paul.
I just wanted to say to Crystal, thank you for inviting me. I intended to join that Zoom meeting, but something came up right at the last minute. I got way late, so, but thanks for the invite.
I just think of credit cards and billing. Is there gonna be any late fees that? If we get the bill, or is it just like a debit card, it just goes away, or are we gonna send our bills and then all of a sudden we're late? Cause we do our bills at a certain time of the month and then we got a interest deal? So that was concerns me a little bit.
Yeah, so we can set up that ACH on the 25th of the month.
Okay,
So we get our bill right after the end of the previous month. And then I would present it to you as commissioners for approval before, you know, the 25th, the third Tuesday of the month.
okay,
And then it would go out on ACH automatic the 25th.
okay. No,
And then I'd just like to say, the reason JP Morgan, the employees did all this research, but the reason they were selected over other, I mean, we know we can get credit cards from our local banks and different things like that. But they had unique features like that they could work with the Tyler software. They're tied to the Tyler software, so that's part of the reason they were selected as well. Okay, any other questions? All right. I have a motion, I have a second, hearing no other discussion, I'll take roll. Paul,
Yes.
Jenny,
Yes.
Amy, yes, Ernie.
yes,
Myself, yes, motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason.
I don't have anything else unless you have any other questions for me.
I have a question.
Okay.
Next round of flex funds goes in on September 19th.
Yes.
Is that correct? Were you able to get support letters for 12B?
Yes,
Okay,
I have a few, waiting on one more. So.
will you follow up with them to make sure to get it in?
They're supposed to get it to me today, yesterday or today, so if I don't see it by this afternoon, I'll be giving it.
Now, it's from our ambulances or EMTs or,
Yeah.
okay. All right, and you received from both the schools, correct?
Both of the schools we have, and they are already attached to their application, we're just waiting for our quick response and then most students.
Okay, Denny,
Butler, gentlemen, are you guys here for Jason or us or?
Well, it's always good to see you. Of course, I wanted to introduce Kenny Culberson. He's been added to our sales department. He'll be calling on you guys and looking forward to working with you. I did have a question for you
okay,
that understand you made a motivator purchase. We were not part of that. I've been around for 20 years and Jim Beck before me was 30 years. We've always been a part. We'd like to continue to be a part. Just like to know why maybe we weren't a part of it.
Jason, would you like to address that?
Yeah, we had gone through with the different things and looked at that stuff. I was trying to simplify things like we have with vehicle purchases, like we did with our snowplow truck. Where there was a state contract where we went out and got things through that. It was less money than what we had gone out for bids, the last purchases that we've gone through. With those, in the meantime, since then, Kenny and I talked about things, when I'm talking about possibly is skid steer or payloaders, depending on what's gonna be happening with
Am I remembering correctly, were you not part of that state contract? Were you not, your company was not listed?
No, we could do a Sourcewell, but in the past, a lot of times, even when Sharon was here or even before that, Dennis is that they would ask us and ask Deere to get pricing and then you can go off that. Or you don't have to bid it, so to speak, but at least you've got two to compare, you know. I mean, it's a major purchase for the county and I know we've had our product here and I didn't know if you don't want our product or if where we stand because it's a major purchase for the county and ultimately taxpayers paying for it and not knowing, you know, whether it was the trade value or the new purchase price, where you stood with the competitors.
Anyone have any comments? Danny?
I guess I would agree. I've always been an advocate of competition. And when we went ahead with that, with the John Deere, I was not, I don't believe I voted.
No, we didn't.
I don't think I did.
Yeah, correct.
I like to see Jay's. And I know that was a state bid, but Butler was excluded from it. And I would just like to say going forward that I hope we include Butler or whoever wants to bid.
Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate
Thank you
it.
for your time, appreciate it. Always good to see you guys. Look
Yeah.
forward to seeing you out at Bismarck probably.
Yes,
Okay.
sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danny, for catching that.
I didn't know they were coming in.
I didn't either.
I kind of figured that's what it was.
I thought they were gonna be on your, I thought you were adding them on your
Yeah.
agenda for something,
No.
so I didn't realize that. Okay,
No, I don't have anything, other equipment I can afford to purchase.
you have no money left?
Nope.
Okay, all right. Anything else for Jason? Right, I think we're good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, should we take a quick break?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. Okay, I'll call the meeting back to order, and Tanya, you are up next with your HR contract. Good morning, Tanya.
Good morning. So this is probably long overdue, but it was brought up that we talked about the contract that I have with the county. It has not been discussed in a lot of years. I honestly don't think it's really been discussed since we started it in 2007. And so, I've just been here doing the job, I guess. I did ask Kelly to review this. I work, obviously, you all know, right, that I work pretty closely with Kelly with all the work that I'm doing. I'm not an attorney, I always like to make that clear. And so I work closely with any of the, legal representation of any of the clients that I have, but, I presented you with a draft revised contract. There's no way to really truly cover all of this different things that come up in HR. Because of what's happened in the last couple of years, I did talk about the jail coordinator piece of what I've been doing for the county. That's just gonna be on an as needed basis, obviously. I did increase the rate because, from what I've been doing, because it's not been increased for all these years, honestly. I have a deep respect for the budgeting process, so, if this contract is accepted and we move forward, I'm fine with not increasing that until January. I'm not, I respect the budgeting process in that respect, so, any questions on it?
Amy, sure. Tanya, do you have an approximate amount of hours that, I know it can vary, but is there a pretty
So much.
standard, like across the board, you track that?
I track it, but it varies so wildly, honestly, like there's weeks I put in maybe 5 hours, there's weeks I put in 30 hours. So I think in the budgeting thing, when we, Christina and I went back and looked at it a little bit. And I think, I'm trying to remember what average we used to pencil in. I think it was,
15.
yeah, I was gonna say it was around 15, I think, per week, but I think there's times it runs closer to 20. There's times it is more like 5 to 10, it ebbs and flows a lot. Just depending on what's going on, and it's increased the last couple years, honestly, if we look back at like a 5-year history, it has definitely increased just because we've had a lot going on. There's been a lot of changes, especially in our auditor's office, since we had longtime staff retire, and so that has required a lot more of my time just to get involved with everything that office is doing, because it is the personnel hub where we keep all of our personnel records and process payroll and all of those things. It's so closely connected, so it's a good question, and there isn't a really clear answer, but I think that's okay. Yeah. Any other questions for me?
Well, I just like to, I think we get a big bang for our buck with you, Tanya. You are very valuable and always there when we need you. With the auditor's office, when we needed someone to step up in payroll, we asked Tanya, can you help us out with payroll? And boom, she was there. We have employee issues. She always handles them so well. I've heard many, many good things from the department head. So we truly appreciate everything you have done, and I'm rather sad that we have not reviewed your contract. That's on us as well. I think it's not right that we have not reviewed this contract since 2007.
Well, it's just as much on me. This is like the last thing I wanna bring forward, cause I know nothing, so I don't hold any ill feelings at all with that. It's just as much on me. I could have brought this forward, but.
Well,
Other than the rate, is there any substantive changes?
No, I made this one a little bit more robust in terms of describing the services versus that original one, cause we didn't know, I don't think at all, right, I didn't know probably what I was getting into, so I brought more detail into this one, but no, in terms of what I'm doing for the county, nothing changes at all, and if anything, I've just become a bit more involved with some of the processes than I was previously, but in my mind, nothing changes in terms of what I'm doing for the county, so.
okay. Any other questions for Tanya?
I'll make a motion, we go ahead and sign it.
Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll take roll. Denny.
Yes.
Amy.
Yes.
Paul.
Yes.
Ernie.
Yes.
Myself, yes, motion carried. Thank you very much, Tanya.
Thank you all.
Can I just have you stay there, because I think you should maybe be part of this discussion, can we move your PIO discussion up
Yeah.
on the agenda since Tanya's here as well?
And Tanya and Christina and myself have emailed a little bit on this as well, as far as, you know, we brought Chris on and he did include in our packets, which is great timing, Chris. A little more on about him. I know Paul even mentioned, he goes, I don't fully know what he's doing and the value to the county, that type of thing. So I really was, I stressed that to Chris and Ron to be able to show, you know, that I do think that there is a very big value in us having some form of a public information officer to represent Walsh County. Chris, as you may remember, came to us, we were contracting services for him. I did notice on the bills, it's about $59 a month for his phone. Currently, he has his computer, but that will end at 6 months. So, you know, that's gonna creep up on us and I would like to discuss what, you know, what we're thinking of for the year of 2026 with him. Whether it's a contracted, you know, hourly wage. He did present some information on what he was thinking. And so Tanya, I don't know if you wanna kind of go over that, or if we just wanna discuss.
Yeah, I don't know if I got what you guys got or not. I got the email that you and I were, the three of us exchanged a little bit about the email. I think it's, it will sneak up on us, I guess, honestly. It'll be here before we know it. I have heard good things so far as well about the services that Chris has been providing for us and the help. And I think it's another one of those positions that, kind of goes under the radar and we don't even realize the work maybe that position can be doing. And so I've been really glad to hear the positive things. I've heard Ron say it's been great to have somebody that can, he can just go to for all of those things. It's, you know, in hindsight, it might have been great to have Chris on board when we had a lot of the other jail stuff going on that was so intense. And I think that helped us realize the need for this role when it became really intense, when we were going through the whole jail project and it was a very public event. But I can't speak necessarily, sorry, Amy, but I don't think I got what you got for the packet, so.
And this is more just information on what Chris, now, my experience with talking to Chris, and Ron, you can support this as well if you want, but he's eager. I mean, to have someone who is literally asking for us to pay for him to be part of the PIO Association, to be looking into conferences, to how we can be better. I feel very comfortable and confident that he is going to outwork what we even provide him in compensation, because he wants to do better. You know, he describes in here all the things he's a part of. He wants to work with more departments and department heads to help them. So that's why I want to come preemptively and proactively on this, so that we have a plan in 2026 and we're not just sitting here saying January, sorry, it's not part of the budget, so we'll think about it next year. I'd like things to be able to keep going and we give it a year, and I've told him I just want you to be very proactive on keeping track of the things you do, so that you can be your own, tooting your own horn on all the things you're providing for us, because I agree, it's easy to say, was that done? And we don't even know what he's doing behind the scenes.
In our emails, we got talking about what this looks like then as a potential moving forward. And so, kind of, we went back and forth a little bit, and it was, I think we all kind of landed on the thought that it's maybe makes the most sense right now to do an independent contract or a contract for an hourly rate. Right now, it's still young, right? It's still new. I think we're learning that it's been a positive thing so far, but because it's still so new, it feels most appropriate to utilize a contract to just engage Chris's services moving forward. And maybe use an hourly rate up to an X amount in order for budgeting purposes, so we have an idea, right? And so we talked about that a little bit, not knowing what really the job will entail or how it could potentially grow or lessen as time goes on. We don't really know. And so that's kind of what we arrived at in our emails, I guess.
Okay, questions? Christina?
So the rate we discussed in the email was $20 an hour, up to 15 hours a week. If Chris is utilizing all 15 hours a week, that would add $15,600 to the budget for 2026.
So I'm envisioning this to be similar to your position, Tanya, where it's going to web and flow. So some weeks, Chris, you may put in 5 hours. Other weeks you may put in 15 hours.
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
So
Okay.
that would be max, yeah, I would agree, and that's kind of why we thought maybe this type of arrangement is the most appropriate way to do it, right?
Mhm.
Because we don't know, I think, and so, and the work is going to ebb and flow.
Okay, and you said you did 15 hours per week?
Yeah, I did it the max.
Okay. I'm gonna say, I don't see that every week will be 15 hours, to tell you the truth. Do you, Chris?
I agree.
Okay.
It won't be.
So it'll just be that max of 15 hours,
Mhm.
okay. And this would start January 1? Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah, I mean, that's not quite 6 months, but I think just for budgeting purposes, we might as well just get it, you know, our initial contract with him was for our phone and compute.
Mhm.
It's not like we're gonna be double
Right,
doing anything.
right, the phone and the computer will
Will stay.
continue, yes.
And I would also propose that we honor, you know, that he has, it's $100 annually for the PIO Association. So I'd like that included in his contract as well, so that he can participate and be able to work off of other PIOs in the state.
I think as we proceed with the jail, Chris's position is gonna come to light. Weekly updates and.
Agreed.
A lot going on.
I would have loved to have had you on.
Yeah, okay.
Long time ago. Oh, hell ago, yeah.
So does anybody have a problem, and the jail is gonna be a prime example, all of a sudden we got a busy week, and he can't really perform his job in 15 or 20 hours. So he can go over to 25 this week and maybe 5 the next
Yeah,
week, and
absolutely.
nobody's got it. Cause I don't wanna hold him 20 hours or whatever, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
he's busy and he's not fulfilling his job.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of having a moving scale or whatever you call it. So,
Flex.
yeah, you bet.
I would think as long as there's discussion with the auditor.
Yep,
So we
yep.
can keep track of it, you know. I don't think I'd want it to just be kind of a, I don't wanna say free for all, Chris, because I know you're not going to
Right.
abuse it by any means. But I do feel for the auditor, for her purposes, so that she is aware of it.
Yep.
Paul,
Ron, I'd like your opinion, you're the one that's worked with him the most, I'd like to hear what you have to say about it.
I find this arrangement to be hugely beneficial for me. A couple incidents where, we had that. Really bad accident in the fog out east by the scale, injury accident, where the highway closed down. Was able to take a couple minutes and call Chris, give him the talking points, he was able to do a press release up. I okay it, and, he sends it out to the media immediately without. Originally, I would have to go back to the office at some point, and take care of that myself, and it's been huge for me, I've been enjoying it immensely.
You can.
He's a good filter.
He does a very good job of getting and then he brings concerns back to me about. So and so would like to talk about this, or, so. I think it could be a huge benefit for the rest of the department heads too, moving forward with. Stuff they have going on in their departments, and, so, yeah, I think. We'll only see this grow, I think, and, or at least I hope.
good, thank you. All right, do I have a motion then that we would move forward with explain it again, it was going to be a 5 to 15 hours.
Yep, a contract, with a maximum of 15 hours per week at the rate of $20 per hour. As needed, right? And so I guess I don't know if we need to get too into the weeds to say that we maintain an average of no more than 15, like we were saying, flex hours, being allowed as needed in consultation with Christine.
Okay,
And so is this contract gonna be produced and it's just, I mean, if we approve it, then we'll just make up a contract for you to sign if we're gonna motion it now.
oh,
Or
we could
bring it
wait, so
back.
I guess we can't wait with the motion because we have to do budget. so
Right.
We need to move forward, it's the timing's a lot.
We can, yeah, I think we can draft the contract based on the motion that you approve or that you, yeah.
So Madam Chair, I would say make sure then we just include the things that were on before, you know, continued use of the computer, the cell phone at the monthly rate. And then I guess it's your motion, but in terms of that.
No,
yeah.
not my motion, I was asking if
Oh.
that a motion, I'm not, I can't, well, I
Yeah.
can't make the motion, I could.
So I will make the motion for the contracted services but to also include that PIO association of $100 annually, to pay that for him. And then the other things that we discussed.
Okay, I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll take roll, Amy.
Yes.
Jenny.
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Ernie,
Yes.
myself, yes, motion carried.
I can help. That is contact awareness.
Thank you very much,
Absolutely,
appreciate it,
perfect.
and thank you, Chris, we appreciate that you are willing to do this.
Absolutely.
Takes the heat off of us a little bit. Pardon?
I'm done.
Yeah, I was just gonna look quick here, just hang on.
It's okay.
Water board zone, you are done.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, water board, we're gonna go back up to the additions to the agenda.
I guess I wanna address something. Last week with their budget meetings and everything else. Paul, you sort of made a remark about what was the value of the water board and the weed board. And I don't know what you meant by that, but I just started thinking about it and I said, you know, you look at what the water board does for the county with all the drains. When you talk about money wise, saving the farmers, all the dams that we do in the county that save the cities. So I just wanted to state that, I don't know what you meant by it, but I thought it was not a really good comment when you question their value. Cause I don't know, I was down there this morning and I looked at that water board does, I'm there just about every week when we don't have this meeting. And just when they do drains, what they have to do in the public comment and the hours they spend, and then they gotta have meetings and the people show up. They've got a big one coming this fall. So when I look at the value of that thing, I don't know how we would proceed without a water board. Besides that, I think we legally gotta have one, but I just wanted to make a comment about the value of the water, and there's gonna be people that don't agree, cause maybe they. Didn't have what they wanted to do as a water board or whatever. I know they work with the city of Grafton and some payment in kind. Around Prestings there and stuff with the bypass of the city and stuff, so they've got their fingers in a lot of things. And I just wanted to make a remark that I just really didn't get when you stated that, what the value was of the. And the weed board, I could go on with that too, but the water board sort of bothered me a little bit, cause I sit on that one, so.
I maybe didn't communicate that very well, admittedly, and I wasn't questioning the value of the water board or the weed board specifically. What I was questioning is that we took one board, the library, and we were talking about drastically cutting their budget. And we didn't talk about any of the other boards.
Well,
That was kind of the point I was trying to make.
I took it right.
I'm not, and I wouldn't suggest cutting the water board or the weed board, because those do, service things that we need in the county. I feel that the library is on that same level.
Yeah.
And so I admittedly probably didn't communicate that very well.
And I just wanted to question on it, so, and furthermore, the water board said if you have any questions or anything, you can replace Danny or me and go down there, cause it's, I wish all yous would take one of my seats on a Tuesday and go down there. It's what they.
Want to be on that board.
I keep telling them that and what they go through and everything else, not only that, once they get something, then they do all the paperwork in the state and then, you know. Water's water, not everybody agrees, and I commend them, I said, you guys gotta have a passion for water, cause I said. Last week I was at a meeting and there was contention there. But they handled it and moved forward, and that's, to me, that's the biggest thing they do, and yeah, they're not gonna make everybody happy. I always say the water board is one meeting that somebody's gonna leave happy and somebody's gonna leave mad. And it's very seldom everybody leaves happy, but and I didn't wanna pick on you, Paul, I just wanted to get sort of a retake of what you meant, and if that's what you meant.
I'm glad you asked. the question.
Cause I don't want you people thinking that you don't value the water board either,
Exactly.
so that's why I brought it up.
Madam Chair, I didn't take it that way. I think that the way Paul brought it, and it's important as commissioners, we are in charge of Walsh County. And there are certain boards, the water board affects some in our county, I would say in certain parts of the county more. When it comes to drains, when it comes to water, et cetera, than others. But we have to look at the value of what these provide to the entire county, not just our backyards, not just the people we talk to. everyone, no matter who it benefits, and I think that. The weed board and when like, that's the comparison is, there are certain parts of the county that some issues affect more than others. That can't impact what we support and what we don't support, we have to look at the benefit and the service it provides to the county as a whole. So I took it that way, I didn't feel that Paul was coming to say, let's cut budgets. I agree, there are certain ones that yes, I can say we don't see the benefit as much, and maybe in even our own lives. That can impact how we vote on them, we have to think about, and that's again coming back to making sure that our constituents are coming to us and letting us know. So that we can make decisions.
Yeah, and I didn't take it that he wanted to cut their budgets, I just took it, this, maybe just like you said, maybe you misspoke in the wrong direction or something.
And like the water, the boards, they're all mandated by century code. And we have to honor that. The only ones that are not mandated are the JDA, Red River Regional, 4-H. Library and Heritage, I think are the only ones.
Yeah, cause I think, isn't it 4 mills we give the water board? And that's mandatory because it's century code.
They're mandated.
Yeah, yeah.
So, that 5 are the only ones that we really can't have any effect on. And it's like my conversation with Aaron Burst, he said that the legislature's really tied our hands on a lot of these decisions, and there's only so many places you can go to make these budgets balance.
And
That's the problem.
I just think like water, again, I'm not suggesting that we should cut the water district budget. But if you go and look at the law, my guess is it says that you can levy up to 4 mills, it doesn't say you have to levy 4 mills. And I have no problem levying the 4 mills, I'm just saying, that's where we do have flexibility with all of these boards, not. Just.
I don't know.
I'm not sure either, Christina.
When I looked it up, like the water board was at. In century code, the 4 mills. And like JDA and library were up to 4 mills, so the century code does designate. What you have to levy for some entities and what you can levy up to for others.
Yep.
Which is probably what Aaron was talking to you about.
In response to that, Larry made a remark this morning when he first started on the water board, they were at 3.5 mils. So apparently they brought it down and then saw the need and brought it up, so I think century code is, like you said, up to 4. Just by going what he said.
But like Christina said, some are up to, our JDA is up to.
And some.
And I think the water board is, cause when he stated they were at that 3.5 for a while there.
But I think it's whatever they request.
Right, right.
If they want the whole 4 mills, we have to give them the whole 4.
Well, Faye said before I was a commissioner and our water board, and I don't want to get anyone mad at me, but wasn't aggressive and probably doing things that this water board is.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, and it's totally changed since way back now.
Yeah.
So, and we're very fortunate, all our boards, I'll say this about all our boards. I think they all do a good job and we're very fortunate to have them in the county. Otherwise, I and everything else, you guys wanna do the jobs they are?
No way.
No way.
Madam Chair, I agree with that, but that's where I think when it comes to budget time, we need to respect what our boards are asking us to.
Yeah.
I mean, we shouldn't be questioning, do you really need that? If they're presenting to us what they're needing to be able to function. I get that we have to make a budget work, but we're also, that produces, in my mind, that we're questioning boards on what they're actually asking. And I agree with Paul, I don't know if we have made a motion on it, but we need to proceed as a commission to be sure that we're equalizing what we're requesting from them, so that it is not a question of what form do you give us, what information do you present to us. It needs to be standardized and consistent, so that there is not well, you didn't give us this way, so we're looking at cuts. I mean, it has to be standardized, so is that kind of a plan going forward for starting next budget season?
Yes.
I would, yeah.
The only thing I'm hearing there, Amy, is. That we just give the boards whatever they want, whatever they request, but then we suffer the cuts within our own departments. And I don't necessarily agree with looking at it that way either.
Well, but then again, that comes back to the standardized, because we're asking them. You know, if someone comes to us and we've said that, if they bring us a budget. That's what they're requesting, that's what they're looking at. So if we have a board come to us and say, this is the amount that we need, it comes down to, well, how are we classifying what is valid versus, well, you don't need that. I mean, that's,
I don't think it's that you don't need that, we only have so much money to go around and it's our responsibility to divvy out the taxpayer funds, so I think we're just trying to look at it in a responsible manner. Instead of just, what if you get a rogue board that comes in here and says, hey, I need the world, are we just gonna give it to them because they're a board? I think we just need to look at the whole picture and we can't expect that just our departments always suffer all the losses with budget cuts. I wanna look at it with an open mind. But we are running behind on our meetings, so I'd like to keep this going. The last thing we had on consent agenda is the zone meeting update. That was from me. It's just a quick, I tell you what, I'm serving on the zone this year and I know Denny has served on the zone before, Ernie, maybe you have as well. I'm not sure.
Not so much the zone, so social services. I was last when they went to the zone.
It is. I'm just going to say it's a heartbreaking board to serve on, but some of the things you see that some of our children have to go through in the county and different things, even beyond children. But with that, I would just like to make a little plug for. I just heard such a sad story with kids not being able to be in foster care because there's not enough foster care parents. Someone that was removed from the home and had to go back into the home because there was nobody to take them. So I guess I'd just like to get it out there. I know our meetings are on YouTube, and if there's anyone willing to step up and be a foster parent, the need is so great. It's just so great. And I leave those meetings and I tell you what, they're heavy. They're very, very heavy meetings. And it's heartbreaking to know what some of our families and children have to go through. And part of the reason they're being left in the home more than they've ever been is because there's nowhere to take these children. So we need people to step up and get into the foster care system. So that's all I wanted to mention. And I think it's good for every commissioner to be able to sit on this board because I didn't know until I sat on the board. And, I get choked up just thinking about it, some of the things you hear there. So for our children's sake, if there's anybody out there willing to step up, please do, or has any interest, reach out and, Danny.
I might add, it's one of those things that you probably know it's there, but you really don't wanna know to what extent.
Exactly.
And it is just heart-wrenching.
Yeah, you really don't wanna hear it,
No,
but we
you
need
don't.
to hear it, and we need to know, we have difficult things
Yeah.
right in our backyards.
Yeah.
So,
And the sheriff department gets to deal with a lot of those things
Yeah.
firsthand also. Pulling those kids out and it's like, man,
Of all the boards I've been on in the county, that's the one that probably opened my eyes more than anything.
yeah.
You don't realize it until you sit on that board and hear what happens.
and it's not one that as portfolio holders that any of us really address too much because,
Yeah.
it's all private, right? We can't address it, but this one topic about being a foster care parent, there's nothing I would love more to know than if these children are removed from their home, that they get to go to another loving home. But that's not the case. That's just not the case because there's not enough people out there doing it, so. Anyways, just a little plug.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay, with that, we get to go on to our final budget review.
Is it final?
That one fun. Let it fun begin.
Is it final final?
Yeah. Just a review. Okay. It is our last, will we have another meeting
We can have another meeting.
if we feel the
Yeah.
need to?
Yeah.
Okay,
We certainly can, so.
and what's our final date to do that, Christina?
October 7th, it has to be approved by, so we can have our meeting at any time. This is the same sheet.
So
except for
October
the
7th is our-
PIO.
This one, it says the final budget approval was by the 10th of October, but our meeting is the 7th, I think is what you said.
So we could approve it on the 7th.
Yep.
We don't necessarily have to approve today, we just start reviewing.
This is the same sheet except for I added the PIO. Budgeted amount.
You looked a lot of trees this year.
I know. And then I also did an account level balance statement for our county general fund. And I was able to put in our 2025 budget numbers, so it should give us a pretty accurate picture of where we are within the budget. The balance sheet shows us that we are at an income of 381,000 year to date in our general fund. Revenue over expenses.
Okay, so we have 4 months left of the year, so you've been estimating some. I
So
would
we,
assume you're estimating expenses for the last 4 months.
yeah, so in the expenditure budget, we have 1.9 million left in our budget.
Okay, where are you looking?
So that is page 4 of the operating statement.
Okay.
So bottom of the page shows that we spent 4.2 million of our 6.1 that we budgeted. So we have 1.9 million left. And then with revenue over expenses, that brings us up to 2.1 million left for the last 4 months of the year, 3 months. But this is run year to date, so I thought it was very helpful that I was able to finally get our 2025 budgeted revenue and actual budget into this report to show us where we are for our budget balance for the rest of the year. Expenses, so for the expenses, I estimated that we would still have 350,000 left of the budget for our expenses for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Paul.
I'm just trying, I wanna make sure I understand, so I kinda wanna repeat what I think I just heard.
And that doesn't include salary, so salary was another 800,000.
Oh, there we go.
That's-
Yeah, I was thinking, wow.
Okay, so the 350,000 is your general fund expenses less salary.
Yeah,
So you have 350,000 plus the 800,000
Yeah.
is kind of what we're going to expense out of the general fund between now and the end of the year.
yes,
So about 1.1,
1.15.
yeah, so,
okay. And this operating statement shows that we have in 25, we have a $6.1 million budget and we've spent 4.2 of that.
yeah,
So the 4.2 plus the 1.1 is what we're going to spend by the end of the year. So the difference then would be the carryover.
yeah, which was around 800.
Well, wouldn't you?
We don't know for sure,
Yeah.
I mean, these are
Just for
estimates,
more
so, these are estimates.
But you would like, what page is it? 5 there, you got budget balance, when you added all that, you figured we'd have 2.123.
Yeah,
So if we
2.1
took-
left in the budget.
Right, so if we took the 1.15 off there, we'd be looking at close to $1 million. Give or take, depends who spends what or whatever.
800,000, I think is what.
Yeah, right, she said.
Yeah.
And that's revenue over expenses for the
Yeah.
2025 budget.
Yes. And that's just estimating, I would say that, you know, with being so new, I haven't had enough stuff across my desk yet for bills and expenditures to know if there's any big annual costs coming up. So that would take me more time to research those as well. So this is just an estimate.
So do we have any idea where kind of the majority of that would fall, whose budget that's in, or is
Salary, well, salary,
the
Oh.
800K is all salaries, you think?
yes, yes. And then another like 350 for other expenses
General.
for the county.
Seems like a lot in salaries for
Yes.
carryover.
No, well, so the excess budget probably won't be all in salaries, but we could isolate those if I had. I could isolate them. On the budget, so it would just be a matter of going through and seeing what we budgeted for and where there's. A lot more excess than maybe what we planned for left in the budget.
Right, because I know we'd have some in salaries, but I just don't think we'd have 800,000 in salaries.
Yeah.
Well, aren't you saying 800,000 is what we have left to pay out?
Yes.
Pay out.
Oh, that, I thought,
Carryover,
I thought
yeah.
you were saying carryover.
No, left to pay out. That's-
Okay.
Yes, for the rest
So
of the year.
what do you expect in carryover? Is it the 381? Or what are you expecting in carryover?
Probably 800, but that's just an estimate. Yeah,
So expenses and salary about 1.1, we've spent 4.2, that's 5.3. We have 6.1 subtract, so that's like $761,000.
Yep.
So that's total, but you're putting 380 as a safe? Here,
oh, that is our actual income. That is actual revenue over expenses to date. On that,
oh, so
Yes.
this is where we are right now.
yeah, that is.
This is where we
actual.
maybe expect.
Yes, so the difference between the revenue over expenses is those are actual numbers. When you're talking about the budget, we budgeted 6.1. If we only spend the 5.3, you would have the 760,000 left that you budgeted for. It's not like extra revenue, it's what you budgeted for.
That you didn't spend.
Yes, yes,
But you collected that money
Yeah.
because you budgeted for it.
yes. We tried to collect it all. We collected a percent.
Yeah.
You still have that from there.
Yes, we have quite a few unpaid taxes and a lot of delinquent notices that we sent out this year. Yeah,
So of the 761,000 then, it could be that. I'm just gonna pick on you, Jason. Maybe you had in capital, like maybe you asked for money to carpet Chase building. Maybe you asked for 100,000, project didn't get done, so that would get carried over, correct?
Yeah, we asked for 60,000 for that project, and then we had the furnace issues, so we weren't sure if we had to replace the furnaces, so we did with the carpet and. Got luckier than didn't have to do the furnaces at this point, but it's been an on and off, where we have to, we not have to, pretty much all year.
Okay, so you may or may not spend that by the end of the year.
I probably won't spend all that, but I know I still have the radon bills coming in, some other repairs for the heating and cooling systems that we have that are upcoming. There's $2,700 for the expansion tank of the courthouse boiler the next week.
So we can't say that this 761,000 will be necessarily carried over because you still have 4 months to spend. Everybody still has 4 months to spend.
Correct.
Okay,
It's tentative.
it's tentative,
Yeah.
right? Paul,
I think a good example would be the caretaker at the county park. That's money that was in the budget that just didn't get spent,
Right.
that decision.
for salaries, yeah.
So those dollars will definitely be there at the end of the year. Crystal's position that's been vacant is another example of dollars that will be there.
Right. Then,
So why do we have to take 35,000 off of healthcare? Why can't we leave that back in the budget?
because at that time, we thought we had to make was it
Well,
300
but now we're finding out we
350,000?
don't. and we put it back.
Because with the health insurance policies, you had to let them know by August 29th what plan you were selecting. Our hands were tied. We wish we did
I
have.
forgot that deadline, yeah.
Yeah, it was the deadline.
I can't help but wonder if we wanted to reinstate that, if we could ask the insurance company if we could make that change.
The what?
We could ask the insurance company if they would allow us to revert back. I don't know if that's possible or not.
I mean, never hurts to ask, right?
I'm just throwing it out there. If you wanna add it back, can we do that?
It's more money in their pocket, ain't it?
Exactly.
So. Wouldn't hurt to ask them.
I mean, it never hurts to ask.
I mean, if we got that overage, I'm just speaking myself, I would like to see that added back. And you know, all they can do is say
But
no.
but again, we don't know that we're gonna have a $760,000.
I'll bring it over the.
I would go with about 50%. I mean, just as a rough, you know, because you know they're gonna spend some money still.
So what,
Are you guys, I'm gonna ask department heads that are here, are you going to still spend some money out of that?
Yes, there are some bills that are outstanding yet, yes, absolutely.
Jason?
With that being said, I know we have bills that are outstanding, but like Paul said, there's the $36,000 from Mommy that.
Right.
That's here for that line item, so when you're looking at. That part for, just for instance, for the healthcare, where was that $60,000, there's 36 of it, but. Yes, we still have expenditures that were coming in and we might have something. Happen, who knows? I mean, I don't trust our heating systems at all.
Denny?
My biggest fear is that jail. I mean, that's kind of a day-to-day deal there that. That sewer system blows up, we could be farming out our prisoners tomorrow.
We had a water leak last week in one of the cells, so.
We have a roof leak there and we have a roof leak in the courthouse, so.
So we could spend anything that we're right now potentially saying could be a carryover, it could be gone, we don't know.
Yeah.
We really don't know, how do you know?
You know,
Things come up.
but in the same sense, if we made the decision, if we talked to the healthcare and they said we could change back. So you spend that 60,000 out of the whatever our guess number is here, and if we go minus, you still got a reserve that you could use to pay for these other things.
Oh, yeah, I'm not concerned about that or anything,
Yeah,
because
oh,
like
okay.
you said, that would come right out of the
Yeah.
salary, right? I mean, we.
No,
we
but I
know
mean, if
that
it
money's right
if
there.
our help, our heating systems went,
Mhm.
let's say we had a $200,000 bill. Oh, we still got a surplus. I ain't gonna call it what I always used to call it, but you got that there. And my point is, if we decided now to give the healthcare back. And all of a sudden we have 400,000 and we spent it because of what we didn't see coming, you still got a reserve that you could use.
Madam Chair, so right now, we have 381 is. Oh, above and beyond, and a potential 761.
Yep.
So even if it's half that, we are almost at that number based on what's in our account currently and this, so. I mean, from that perspective, my other question has to do with when on capital outlay in this new, Christina. It's probably page 4, what is the 330,508 for buildings and grounds mean? In here,
What page you on, the first
like
page?
4, if they're not labeled number wise. It's in the new.
Right here, Paul.
Yeah.
Page 4.
At the top, to
Okay.
the right,
Yep,
is that what's been budgeted over?
Oh, that's, the full buildings and grounds budget. That's the full budget for buildings and grounds, 330,508. That is if you reduce,
The 75.
yes, reduce it by 75,
Okay, so that's what he has in buildings and grounds without that 75.
correct. That is the full
We're looking
budget
at,
for buildings and grounds,
sure,
Jenny?
we're looking at $160,000 on that
for the wash and tuck.
wash and tuck.
You have that on,
Yep, I made a note that, Jason said it was 160,000 for wash and tuck, just right above the 75,000.
yep.
Oh, there,
So something to consider.
so that is, right now, that is included or not included, the 102,000?
Well, if you reduce the budget by 75,000 in the capital outlay, the line item would be budgeted at 100,000. So, and Jason has stated that the wash and tuck alone is 160,000
So we would not be able to do it.
She's removing it here, it's yellow.
suggested changes.
she removed the 75,000, so it would be 100,000 in addition to the 330.
That is with the 330, that's included in their final budget for buildings and grounds of 330,000.
So what happens if we don't do the Washington Tuck, Jason? Is that what it's called, Washington Tuck?
Yeah, it gets worse next year.
Right. So it'll be more expensive to do the longer we leave it, or?
It always gets more expensive, and everywhere your fuel costs and your different things always go up, so it's, I don't think we're ever gonna find a point where it's gonna get cheaper. But the biggest thing is with, right now, is we have water that is falling out between the line sections when you look outside. At what point is it getting to be a point, and the longer that's open, the more chance they have water penetration into the building.
Have we been on a rotation with that every so many years, or
It's not a set rotation, but it needs to be.
needs to be?
Madam Chair, I have a question in regards to the jail. So if we're proceeding and the jail will be connected to the courthouse. Is it in the best interest that we proceed with something that could be more beneficiary, or, you know, I don't know what that project entails, but. I have to think that there's gonna be some cleanup or some things if we have a new building connected to this building on the outside. As well as what we're connecting on the inside. I just don't wanna see us spend 160,000 and then we have to. Redo that because now we're involving two buildings that are connected. That's my only thing I wanna think about.
What are your thoughts on that, Jason?
When the building is connected to the back, we're still gonna have that same one. We'll still have to be cleaned up beforehand, but you know, it is, if it's cleaned up beforehand with special fee, it's not a problem. Then you go into construction, they're gonna have to protect it to make sure that they're making things, they're gonna have to make sure that they're during construction, that the existing building is protected, even while they're making the connections. So if they make a mess of it during construction, they're gonna have to clean it during construction. And we haven't seen the actual plans, all we've seen are layouts to this point of how a building would be connected to it. We don't know exactly what the structural engineers are gonna come back with for how we connect the jail to the existing courthouse. That part has never been decided.
Or where.
That's all.
I always think of end of projects and it's a mess, so I just don't want us wasting money on something.
And for safety, you could probably predict that you could tuck the north and the west, but you're not gonna do much of those sides and then just leave the other two, but how much more expensive is it gonna have them come here just to do two sides instead of four?
You're gonna pay the same mobilization for them to come and
Yeah,
help you out there.
and that's my point.
And in all honesty, with what we're looking at for the latest proposals, you're only gonna be going off the back, and then you're only gonna be doing half the back, and at that point in time. It's gonna be more expensive to come back just to do the back wall from a contractor, because I thought bring the exact same equipment. To get up to those heights, and then it will change, because I won't be able to use the exact same equipment. After the jail is built, to do the roof part. Cause you're not gonna be working from the ground on spot, you're gonna have to work to make access for other things with. Scaffolding or other increments, you're not gonna just be able to run a man line.
Like you said, that wall will still be there whether we add it on tonight, so it's probably just as well we get.
That's a good question for the engineers. I mean, I don't know the answer, I don't know the answer, but. Yeah, that's a good point.
But it sounds to me like this is something we don't necessarily wanna put off either, this Washington Tuck, because.
We did it many years ago, and I was shocked at the price back then, but to ask me how many years ago, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Gonna be over 10.
But when you tell me things are already disintegrating between the bricks, that concerns me, and are we going to let the integrity of our building?
Yep. And that's why we moved forward at that time too, cause stuff went falling apart, I call it. You don't want that to happen.
We are completely cutting it. I mean, it is 100,000 that's still included in the budget in terms of cash. So whether we do it this next year or not, we still are funding, you know, to put money into that.
But we don't have enough to pay for it this year, out of that budget line.
Not budgeted, yeah.
Specific project, you know.
Do you have other projects in there? I'm assuming you do, yeah, because it's 160,000. What are the other projects that would have been in there?
The 160 was pretty much just for the top and wash, and then we had a different portion because of the way the budgets are set up for doing heating, cooling, the carpet. But.
So the carpet for the Chase building again was in here. And that's about 60.
What, 60?
We've been putting that off a long time too, haven't we?
There again, I mean, if we move the LAC over to the Chase building and.
You may not want carpet, I mean.
Yeah.
Jason,
If there was a move into the Chase building, we're gonna have to do renovations and things. So if there's something that we're gonna, that you're looking at as this is a recommendation from me to it to be cut, it'd be carpet. As bad as it's getting, where it's fraying and creating issues. If we don't know the existing of how what's there is gonna keep going to that level, we may be moving somebody else over there and doing a renovation to it. To spend the money on the carpet, you do that type of renovation where you're ripping out walls, putting in and moving different things, if that's the type of thing we have to look at. Then you're gonna be damaging the carpet a lot worse. So if you're looking at a cut. And I had to choose between the two, I would definitely go that before I would change anything for a tuck. And maybe the heating cooling with the ESG, maybe we'll have something, we don't have to worry about that, so I would definitely, if I want to pick anything, I would take to leave that portion and cut the others.
so how much would that be if we cut the others? And that would all be out of capital outlay, correct?
It's heating, buildings and
Heating,
grounds.
and buildings and grounds,
Buildings
right?
and grounds, it'd be more buildings and grounds than the capital outlay, if the capital outlay was that, and it's that.
I don't think it matters which one it comes out of.
This is full.
It's a wash.
well, it's, what do you mean, for all of them? That's the whole building and grounds budget, so that would be everything up onto the next page.
It's all perfect out.
Yeah. Everything with the 41,460 is buildings and grounds for account numbers, so maybe I should have Jared for.
Maybe I should rephrase it, Jason. Right now, we're looking at cutting 100,000 out of your budget between buildings and grounds and capital outlay. What could you live with?
I mean,
For a cut.
up really quick.
What was that, Jason?
He's gonna add it
Well,
up.
let's see if I can access my spreadsheet for it. For my budget.
I always think that buildings and grounds is like throwing darts at a dartboard.
Well-
You just don't know what's gonna happen.
And Madam Chair, my other question has to do with the new company that we're working with, like, I love the idea that there's becoming a little intention behind funding that's being put towards, that we're not just building a fund, that we're identifying projects, pricing, grants. So that's the other piece with this that I just wanna be sure we're thinking about, is that the goal is that we're identifying and prioritizing projects based on what's gonna be the biggest bang for our buck and maintaining the buildings and grounds that we have.
The scary part of, and I like the idea with all that thinking, but you know yourself, every time you're tied to a grant or something, that you wind up spending more money because they got this, you gotta have and this. And that's the only thing that sort of scares me about that, but he assured us at the meeting when Paul and I sat with him that, you know, it's pretty much what you save on all your heating and cooling and everything else plus grants, it's gonna be a pretty convenient and a cheap way to go. So, but I always think of grants and stuff and they just cost you more money if you get one.
I just can't put much faith in these grants, I mean, everything.
Well, it is what it is.
I know,
They're beautiful, but you know.
can't bank on it.
Jason?
So with that aspect of the grants, there's always a cost share that goes with them too. So what it's in lieu of for, we're using our factors and first, but by looking at the budget request I have for 2026, I had $100,000 for buildings and grounds improvements. And then I had 175 for the capital outlay, so the 175 was for the tuck. And then the building improvements was 100,000, so that'd be your carpeting and your different issues, some paint supplies, things on that lines. And if something big had to happen with the ferns, that's what that other 100,000 would be broken, so. With that, if you're doing a carpet, and I'm asking for $100,000 and you have a furnace. There's none of our furnace, and the whole system up on top of the Chase building was $90,000 just for the equipment. So. If something were to happen with them, where those ones we just replaced went out, there's no guarantee. That both things would happen even at that point. It's just. It's a crapshoot. I wish I had a crystal ball that would tell me what we're gonna have for issues. The good news is with all the steam traps that are in this building, there's 92 of them. We have 20 on hand, so we don't have to go and purchase those. So that's something that we looked at, because the first years we were having issues finding them and different things, so we went and made it so we have them. But there are other aspects that can, you still have to pay for the technician to come in and replace those pieces, so.
So if we cut the carpeting at the Chase building, that's 60,000. Anything else, or we're good there?
Yeah, because if you had to cut that 100,000, that's where I would take it for buildings and grounds improvement.
And just do the 60.
And just leave the capital outlay at 175.
Okay, leave the capital outlay at 175 and then
Decrease 100.
Decrease 100 on the 26 request then,
for the buildings and grounds.
buildings and grounds.
It's 100,000.
You'd move it from buildings and grounds to capital outlay.
Do you want 0?
So you're taking 0
dollars
then?
in buildings and grounds?
It'd be a 0 in buildings and grounds improvement, line 1,4160.20. And it would leave capital outlay at full, which was line 1,04160.099. That would be left at 175. Between those two funding line items, I'd ask for 275,000 for improvements and repairs. So I'd be cutting $100,000 out of it. And just delaying your carpet and different things we're looking at. Almost for exterior lights for this field project over anything, so.
Well, basically,
That's the same cut
that you got,
that was proposed
Yeah.
in the separate line.
you just got, you'll have to move that 25,000 over to the 75 to make it 100.
And what happens if we also need something on a building and grounds for radon, this radon thing, or?
Maybe coming to you, asking you for money.
General fund.
Yeah, it makes it, I'm gonna be honest, it makes me nervous to have $0 in building and grounds, and I understand that you need that much in capital outlay, I think. Personally, I think we're cutting it too much, I think we're cutting those budgets too much.
So with this 330,508, that includes, like, where are they at right now in buildings and grounds?
The 330,508
Last year.
was with the cut, so it would be the 430,508 if you added that 100,000 back in. So in your budget,
So they're not at 0.
You're at 330 up there, right?
Right.
that's with the cut. So if you go to buildings and grounds. In your budget, so
You're
it
just-
would be at the 430,508. 430,508 is what was approved in the preliminary budget.
And in 2025, it was 328.
And it went up because of the top, right, Jason?
Yeah, in 2025, our adopted budget for buildings and grounds for everything for there was $328,888. This year, we requested $430,508. So if you took out that one funding line, it would drop us to $330,508.
That you still have there to use if we have trouble
Wow.
and whatever.
There's 175,000 there, that would be for your talking. The rest of the things are for your salaries for the different pieces, your supplies and portions from there. So if you had something catastrophic happen with a building, I'll be coming to you, looking for a way to fund it.
We need build it. Yeah. Good
Yeah.
question.
Good question, good to
I mean, would the commission be open to maybe doing 160 in capital outlay and that other 15,000 in buildings and grounds improvements?
Cause I looked at that too, 175 was the request in building or in capital outlay, 100 was for buildings and grounds, so you're at 275 for request. If we aim for the project, that's talk 160, that leaves you with 115,000, so like you said, there's 15,000 theoretically left. You're saying to put that in the buildings and grounds, so it's not at 0?
Then you can. I mean, then you're not showing that.
Yep.
You're just putting 0 in. There's some money in there for projects, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Jason.
whether the funding line has a number in it, 15,000 or a zero in it. The bottom line is when it comes to the end of the year, is if that thing, if I've spent all the money or not. So the building improvement fund line and the capital outlay, in my opinion, are basically the same thing where they can interact with each other, and the same with the heating and cooling, where if our heating and cooling cost goes, repairs have to go high, then we have that. It comes back all the other ones to make sure we're whole. So. But as to what's gonna go, I can't tell you. I mean, last year, we had multiple problems with. Both rooftop units and the boiler system of the law enforcement center. We had multiple issues with 2 of the 3 units on the rooftop of the Chase building. The year before, it was one of the heaters in the admin building. Where components were out there, and I was scrambling to get a contractor, and thankfully. One of the smaller units, so we could actually bring somebody local, and then I could get. Eric with Wayne's Point Heating was able to come in and take care of that one, but that's one of the only ones that. We have that they can come in once it's one of our shops. So the shop budget's different, but these 4 buildings. Are our buildings and grounds, and that's where I can't tell you where we sit with them.
I guess my question to the commission is we've seen the issues that we're having with our buildings, we've seen all the different, I mean, it's constant, right? I mean, there's always something. But yet we're gonna strap Jason's budget and say. Here's 160,000 for the top. And an extra 15,000 to cover everything else. To me, that doesn't seem like we're budgeting very wise there, but.
What choice do we have?
Well, we do have some choices. I mean. We're leaving 75,000 in for an administrator.
Well, yeah, then,
If you took that off, that could go right back into Jason's budget for buildings and grounds or capital outlay, I don't care which one it is. We've also added in 15,000, correct, for PIO, it was right around 15,600. So we have to reduce that amount from somewhere else now. So we do have some choices. If we go through this sheet. Let's just move on from buildings and grounds and capital outlay before we make a decision there. If we go through this spreadsheet that Christina gave us with all the highlighting of cuts. Court facility, that's an old brainer, right? Because
Yeah.
Deb said they won't have a project.
Correct.
So that one we know that's easy. The new equipment. I can't read the
For the
rest of
county
it.
park.
That was.
That
the equipment for
would
the
be
county.
Jason.
Yeah, and you took that off, that was for the shelters, correct?
Yeah, that's $30,000 for estimate for 2 shelters. So I mean, they're gonna need shingles, they're gonna need soffit fascia at some point. But that was the whole question is, can the 36,000 we're not using for salaries this year? Could that be earmarked for that? Or do I need to hurry and try and find a contractor just to do it now and spend it? If it's fall. Then it wouldn't have. to-
I'd spend it this fall and get it done because people don't want us to, they don't wanna see carryover, so.
That'd be 30,000 that would be back out of that budget for next year.
Okay, can you do it yet this fall?
Try.
could we do just one shelter?
Yeah, they're both in bad shape, but I mean, you can always just do one.
Yeah.
So I
I
mean,
mean,
reach out to some contractors to see if they can get it done yet.
you know, that's what I mean, both of them are ready to fall. But I would suggest just do one. And then maybe we can do the next one next year with that savings on,
But he has some money this year available for it. So why not?
yeah.
If we don't wanna have carryover, because that's kind of what I'm hearing, we wanna reduce our carryover, why not spend it then and get them both done?
Because you got the 36,000 from the salary.
From the salary, yeah.
Yes, there is around over 60,000 left in the budget for county parks. For the rest of the year, so if we can fit it in this year. That would be
That's true.
great, if we can.
Yeah, if we
Yeah.
can, like, we might as well, right?
See what I can get done.
Okay.
You do that.
Okay, so we know that 30,000 will come off of the new equipment for the budget. Technology, we're comfortable with that one as well, right?
Okay, so technology, I contacted NRG, and I got a quote from them for 2026 annual budget. They sent me the quote and, the recommended equipment replacements. They had 2 computers on here for 2026, but my understanding from the auditor's office is that there were a lot of computers replaced and monitors replaced earlier this year. And so the annual cost for NRG was 80,000, 79,479.96 is what their annual budget premium plus agreement quote said. And then with the computers, that was another like 5,000, so.
So 225 is what's in technology?
That was what was budgeted last year, and so then we have carried it over to this year. We spent 146,000 so far this year, and I don't think we'll get anywhere close to 225 for this year.
Okay, so it looks like we're gonna be around roughly 85,750 with the figures you just gave us.
That's just with NRG. We have some costs for ITD and Tyler, but NRG makes up most of the budget for technology.
So we're leaving 150 in there?
Yes.
Are we over on that, do you think?
Over at 146 so far right now.
With the computer replacements that happened earlier this year.
You're at 146.
Yep, year to date.
Okay,
And
I heard you say 8750 and 5, I must have missed something in there.
Well, that's just NRG's
that was
contract for
the
next
quote
year.
for 2026.
For energies, yeah.
Yes, plus there would be ITD and Tyler in there. NRG makes up the majority of the budget.
But we were at, Amy, just for you, for 2025, we're at 146 because we replaced, part of it was because we replaced the majority of the computers, so our energy contract was way higher in 2025. It's going to be way lower in 2026, so that's why I was wondering, you know, if we're looking at 85,750 for the NRG. Without knowing how much ITD and Tyler are going to be, I can't really estimate.
Yep, so then the amended was recommended at 150,000.
Yeah, I was just wondering if that was too high.
Oh, that's
60,000 between Tyler and NT.
I think so. In 2024, we spent 120. In 2023, we spent 150.
For.
And for our technology budget.
I would guess Tyler costs probably were quite high in 23, I mean, there were.
Right. Yeah.
So I think.
Oh, Jason, sorry,
We also had 1 year where our computers weren't replaced,
right,
so those costs weren't associated with what we spent in IT. And we had to replace those, we're a year behind on the schedule for the computers, because 1 year they were just missed, so.
Something like that was probably appropriate, saying.
yeah, I'm fine with that.
I think Ron.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Same.
Ditto?
I mean, 2025, they were missed and we replaced most of them in 2025, right?
Correct.
So we've been,
Replaced in 20, or they missed in 24.
We missed in
Yes.
24, we replaced in 25, but we didn't replace all of them.
right, so I'm just looking at in 25, I'm sure we paid for those replacements and we've spent 146.
That is what I understood.
Okay,
I believe so, yes.
so that's why I was questioning if 150 is gonna be high, because we're not gonna have to replace a bunch of them because we just did in 2025.
Oh, we're on a
Rotating schedule.
rotation, so
You replace some every year.
correct.
Okay, all right, I'm fine with the 150, just trying to be very careful about the carryover. Health insurance, we're gonna call and ask, I'm not gonna hold my breath, but we can ask.
What was the 30 new equipment? The decrease of 30,000?
Oh, that was the park, Homey Park for the 2 shelters.
There's we got 2 shelters.
What's the court? Oh, that was the court facility, I'm
So
sorry,
that's
I had
bad,
it on
yeah.
the wrong one, okay.
Yeah. And that will come back eventually with court facility because they get to these projects every many years.
But theoretically, the county park, even if he spends the 30, he'll still have 30,000 in that account.
Could be removed if I get it done this year, when it 30,000 next year.
Cause there's 60 in the account right now though. So if you spend 30 this year, there still will be 30,000 in that, not that I'm saying you won't need it for the county, but. There's 60 right now in there.
Yeah, but so the budget is at 110 and county park has spent up 41,000 out of their budget so far. So we have an excess budget in that account for, over 60,000 right now.
And the 41 was mostly salary or lawnmower or whatever.
Contracting.
Salary.
52,000 in salaries.
And then the lawn mowing, I think, yeah.
But we still have, the guys still have to go and address the beach one more time this year. We'll have some hazard trees that'll have to come down this year, but the guys will do, we'll have to take the docks out, what the guys do, so. I have to go back out there and blow down, blow up the lines, winterize everything, so we'll still have some expenses that come out of it.
And wouldn't you have some mowing still within the contract through October?
But this is just court facility improvement.
Oh.
I mean, the new equipment line item, this
Yeah.
isn't the county park line item.
Yeah, but you were talking about carryover and whatever, but
The new equipment was coming out of the county park, was it not?
That's all one line.
It's
Oh, I'm
one
not.
line in the county park. It's a county park budget line item. It's the new one.
But the 60 is in the whole county park,
Correct, in the
Yes.
whole budget.
which we will need for mowing, contracting, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the salary extension, that's nothing there. Okay. So. We're back to you, Jason.
I can add back in the building and grounds and capital outlay and the health insurance. And the
PIO.
PIO and tell you how much we would still need to sign up.
Yep.
Okay.
No, that, well, in doing that, another thing we haven't addressed is. That we talked about earlier, and we said we would get back to JDA on was that self-help, the $1,000 for each city.
Oh,
You know, we discussed, are we going to keep that, are we going to not? So that's something we should be addressing today as well.
Looks like a lot of them just got paid out this last month.
yeah,
Yes.
I don't even remember how many cities took advantage of it.
I wanna say we set it up for 10, I feel like it was 10,000,
Yeah.
I'm not sure they all took advantage.
I know, $1,000 a city.
So after I add in buildings and grounds, the capital outlay. The full request for both those plus the full request that was for the health insurance at 600,000. We still need to find, plus the county admin is in there. We need to add in the PIO. We still need to find 141,000. To reach our 3% budget cap.
Do you wanna just, from my slow brain, tell me what you added in again?
Okay, so I added back, the 25,000 from buildings and grounds, added back 75,000 capital outlay buildings and grounds. added back 35,000 into the health insurance benefits. And added 15,600 for the PIO. That brought our budget to 6.5 million, $6,535,056.33.
And tell me again how much we need for 3%.
Our 3% cap is $6,393,941. Our savings still needed is $141,000.
And you were still, oh,
Question for Christina, so based on these numbers that you just plugged in, can you tell me what? I'm not sure quite how to answer this, but can you tell me what our general fund balance was at the beginning of 2025? And based on the estimated income and expense revenue, what it is estimated to be at the end of 2025. And then based on the budget, what it would be estimated to be at the end of 2026.
Okay,
That's a
so,
lot, I understand that.
so the beginning balance is shown on the balance sheet and the operating statement that I printed out. On the balance sheet, if you go to fund balance, the 4,519,000, that was our beginning balance.
For 2025?
Yep, on January 1.
Okay.
So it's showing that our total income was at 381,000 and our county general balance right now is 4.9 million. It's also shown on the operating statement. Oh, maybe it is not on the operating statement. No, it's not on the operating statement. It is just on the balance sheet. So right now it's at 5.9. I guess if we consider that there's probably,
I'm sorry, it was 4.9 or?
or 4.9, right now it's at 4.9. So I think it's a little hard to estimate the fund balance because we're going off of budget and not actual revenue over expenses. So when we say like we could have 800,000, that's probably not revenue over expenses, it's what's left in what we budgeted for. So I'm uncertain on what that number could be. For what carryover could be.
And the 800,000, that would be if we took in 100% of the taxes, because that's what we
Yes.
budgeted for, and we did not take in 100% of the taxes.
Yes. I mean, maybe you would see. I mean, maybe half of the 800,000 might
that's
be
what I was gonna
safe,
say.
Half of the way.
the 800,000 might be safe. But I'm just not sure because what we budgeted for isn't shown in revenue over expenses. So you can't accurately say we're gonna have 800,000 of excess revenue when what you're talking about is 800,000 left in what you budgeted for the year.
I think you could be safe at 50% of that, though, at 400, say 390, 400,000. I think you'd be pretty close.
Do you have a historical number, typical, don't you?
You know, I've always said it since I've been here, every year we worry about a budget, that's our job, but every year at the end of the year, it seems from memory. I could say that we consistently put 300,000 to 500,000 away. And I might be wrong, might be, 1 year might be higher and 1 year might be lower. But that's why we've got that. Our reserve to where we are, cause it's growing pretty much every year and we haven't. You know, what is it, 2 years ago, we spent it down, or was it last year? So that's why we did it, because we
So Christina, you're saying our current balance right now is 4,000,009, that 4,000,009, 4.9.
Yes,
And when we look at the remaining amount to spend, it's about 1.15, if you average this. So that puts us in, as far as where we're at 3.75
mhm,
with what's remaining.
in the fund balance.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a guesstimate, but if we take that, that's what's in our account.
You know, you look at what we're projecting and we just said maybe 50% of that at 300 or 400,000. If you take the boiler or the cooler or the building, any of this heating system, and you could spend 300,000 in a heartbeat the rest of the year yet, that we didn't predict on. There was a carryover that we thought, but it isn't there. That's what scares me, our age of the buildings and the heating systems here, and how do you? Plus our bridges. I mean, I'm on that highway department and everything, I look at the bridges and all of a sudden, I'll use the inspection as an example. Here, we didn't think we have to, and now we gotta replace it with culverts again. What's that gonna cost us by the time we get done? Thank God we've got a carryover balance, cause I said the age of our infrastructure, whether it's buildings and roads, is just haunting us.
Have you ever used general fund dollars for bridges? I mean, specifically? That's a tough question, I guess.
I think back in the years. And I don't know if we had anything in our highway department at that time, but I think back to the years where, you know, I mentioned that. When Los Angeles was broke and federal money was available, well, we took money, but I can't say. To tell you that, no, we had it all in highway. I wonder if one time we didn't dip into general fund to use that some of the money, cause we saved so much money by doing it. So I couldn't give you that answer, Paul, but I think maybe we did back then.
When we were bundling.
Yep.
So.
so last year, the excess revenue over expenses for 2024 was 365,000.
See?
I think that would be a good number to go off and guess that our excess revenue over expenses.
Yeah.
For county general would be around that amount.
And you know, when you asked me that number, you take 10 years ago when we didn't have so much trouble with our buildings and our heating. That's probably when we did have a couple of 500s or whatever carryover, and we didn't have all this expense. So it's a guesstimate, but I would say you're pretty safe at that 317 carryover, give or take.
And I know everybody's been focusing on the carryover, but the carryover has also been put into a fund for 5 million HVAC system, not jail, let's not talk jail. But we need a $5 million HVAC system in this county, and we have been working hard to save for that HVAC system.
Which wasn't that the vote for the capital improvement fund though, the 10 mils, right? So we are not using general fund tax money. I mean, cause theoretically, that's double. We're not looking to ask for money out of the general fund to be putting, we're using that 10 mils to go into this, which was what was planned to get us to 5 million.
I don't believe it was just the general fund.
Like, wasn't there ARPA money or something we stuck in there?
ARPA, yes,
Yes.
yeah, the ARPA
Yeah.
had to be designated for it as well, because we couldn't get to that 5 million quickly. Christina?
Yeah, so in 2024, he made 2 transfers. The 1.4 million was ARPA funds.
Mhm.
So the ARPA funds went into, they were transferred into county general and transferred directly over to the capital improvements fund. That was 1.4 million. Another transfer went directly from capital or county general into that capital improvements fund to make the 2.4 million. But the 1.4 was ARPA,
And 1 million was from where?
county general.
From general?
Yep. And the ARPA funds went from county general, from ARPA to the county general account and then into the capital improvement, so maybe that's where some confusion was.
And that was because we had to spend those ARPA funds by a certain date,
Yep.
or they would take them back on us. So we had to figure out that way to spend them and then transfer it. So it's called, creative budgeting, financing, I don't know. But we didn't wanna lose those funds.
So for capital improvements, we should have 2.4 in there, plus whatever.
Plus the 5 mils.
And then we
Yep,
have the
yep,
separate
yeah,
capital
whatever we-
bills for the capital project fund.
Yes, the capital projects is a separate fund that the levy comes out of. the 10
mils, so that'd be what,
left.
690,000, 700?
Yeah,
So that you put that in there, we'd be at 3.1. Numbers.
So do we
Okay.
want to keep going, or do you guys want to ponder this until, well, we don't have another meeting till we have to approve this. Right, October 7th, unless we schedule another budget meeting.
So. Just so I'm thinking straight here, that 141,000, we figure we still gotta cut.
yes,
So is the administrator in there? So if you cut the administrator, we can save another 75? Okay, I just,
yes.
I've been a big pusher of the administrator and everything else, and when I look at this, I don't know how we're gonna make it go. Unless there's some more money we can find somewhere else.
I would like some time to digest,
Yes, yeah.
and I'm not a big fan of another meeting, but we've covered a lot here today, and I'm just swimming.
Yeah, my head's spinning.
I really would like some time to, cause I'm not sure I'm fully understanding everything that's been presented to Henny. And I'm a big proponent of becoming administrator.
I got a question, yeah, so let's say we did cut it in the budget, and we come in with zero budget and we're balanced. Can we use county general money if we decide later to hire an administrator? Is there something against county general? I guess I'd call it salaries, I don't know what else.
Well, it would come up,
Yeah.
Christina.
You can, as a commission, it just needs a motion and a vote and.
By the commission,
Yes,
okay, so that's what I'm just thinking.
So if we get to, when we get to the end of the year, beginning of 2026, and we see what we actually have here, because right now it's a guessing game.
Yeah.
I mean, we're trying to make an educated guess, right? But in the end, it's still a guessing game. Because I don't know how much Jason's gonna go out and spend. I don't know how much Ron's gonna spend. I mean, you know, we don't know what they're gonna spend till the end of the year, so. But we do know on salaries, we know that money is there because it did not get spent.
I think what we have to concern ourselves with is what are they gonna spend that's not specifically budgeted, because we are accounting for the
Right.
things that are
Right.
budgeted. So, you know, the
Emergency stuff.
Yeah, the boiler and the roof, those are things that aren't necessarily specific to the budget, so, you know, I think our exposure there's certainly exposure, I mean, anything could happen between now and the end of the year, but. And we need to be ready for that, but, I think we are, at least in my mind, we are accounting for those things that are budgeted.
Right.
It's the unbudgeted things that we need to, and that's where your half number makes some sense. Cause are accounting for those unanticipated problems.
I always look at our budget and I say it every year, it's our best guesstimate, because it's a budget, you're maybe guessing's the one, but you just can't
We
predict.
can't do that anymore with a 3% tax.
No. We don't have a cushion. I shouldn't say it, we got a reserve, but.
Madam Chair, I just have one more question on, I may be not aware, but above the salary line of Meester Martis, is that filled?
Trying. Application and trying to get them in for interview, so trying.
So you haven't had someone in that position though for how long?
And we had Ty for part of this year, so most of this year that position hasn't been.
And you had a part-time.
And we had a part-timer that we brought in, to take for portion of that, but
Okay.
part-time's gone now, so.
Are you getting any takers on?
We had a couple of applications and we bring them in and we do the preliminary background checks, some of them we can't bring in, and then the last one we passed the preliminary background check, but we can't. We're trying to take, I've been leaving messages, but they haven't responded, so.
That's the news of prisoner. We've been there and talked to them, and it's a captive workforce, literally.
Christina, could we get a new sheet like this?
Yeah.
With the numbers you gave to us so that we can have something fresh to look at?
Yeah.
Okay, do we want to set another meeting then? Or do we want to try to do this on October 7th? Because we have to approve it that.
you have to approve it by then. I would prefer a different meeting.
Look at
before
what,
then.
look at what came today, yeah.
Okay. Any thoughts on another date, like the 23rd or the 30th, do we wanna keep it on a Tuesday? I'm not saying we have to.
I can't do the 23rd.
Okay.
The 25th is an option for me,
Can you do the 30th?
I could do the 30th.
I'm just gonna check my calendar too quickly.
Thirtieth works for me.
I have a children meeting on the 30th that morning, but this one, I would be here for this.
It'll work for me to know, so I don't, it's up to you guys.
23rd, and if the 30th works, I gotta be.
I can make either work. Danny, how about you?
still looking for something to come up.
He's trying to figure out if he's gonna go hiking or camping.
Or fishing. 30th? You said?
Yeah.
September 30th, so what time is your?
Well, it's at 10, but. I'll just not go to that.
Well, we could do an afternoon meeting.
No.
Okay, I think we're gonna be in Harvest, so.
Yeah.
You wanna do 9?
8:30, 9:30,
30?
8:30, whatever, you guys got the long travels.
I'm good with you.
8:30?
Yeah, that's good.
Sure.
Danny's gonna be up, he'll call me by 6:30, you know.
Really, Riser.
Such a farmer in here.
6:30 is usually buyer.
Oh.
8:30?
8:30 on September 30th, we will have the final.
You hope.
Okay. All right, September 30th, 8:30 budget meeting. Okay, I assume we did not receive any public comments, any public comments?
No public comments.
Okay, all right, any other business for the board? Hearing none, I will adjourn.
If anybody